It was wonderful.
Of course, you deserve it.
I love my bitches. They treat me like a king.
You look very happy today.
Here is the extraction point for the dialogue.
Try this.
Best party ever.
Look at this hand, I think I'm going to do the same. Extraction point is here. We need to use the river valley to cover it. Let's see.
Hey there. We're under attack! What do we do?
I don't know, but we have to hold them off.
Razzle-dazzle, baby! Welcome to Trump Force One. The new era begins. Hey there, Victor Khan. Let's have this selfie. Keep moving. Wait. All right, you little terrorists.
Well, that was interesting. It was an odd song choice. It was. They should have used like a different song. You've seen them in concert, Ramstein. Ramstein. What's up, everybody? Tonight, how's it going? I'm Jim. I'm here to tell you the news. Yeah. What's up? Happy Saturday night, January 17th, 2026. Lots of stuff in the news tonight, folks, to talk about. Let's see who's here tonight. Hey, look at it. We got KZ Gypsy Muse. It's Saturday night, and I got nobody. Hi, Jim and chat. Well, you got us. That's all that matters. HJ Remy's here. What's up, HJ Remy? Great to see you tonight. Sunshine. Hello, Sunshine. Here to brighten up everybody's day. What the F's here, too. Great to see you. Pat Hacker. Hey, how you doing? Great. Choosy's here. What's up, Choosy? Good to see you. Kimby's Dirty Kitchen. What's up? How you doing? Brian Ogden's here. Sunshine. Pat, what's up? What's up, everybody? Yeah. Let's go, Jim. HJ Remy. Yes, we're going. Leon Williams. What's Lynn Williams? Great to see you. Rachel Boone. What's up? How you doing? Terry's here. Hey, Terry. How you doing? Michelle's here. What's up, Michelle? Great. Good to see you. Snarf's here. What's up, Snarf? Iowa Backyard Cam says it's 2 degrees. It feels like negative 16. Well, stay warm. Try to stay warm, man. That's all you can do. None of your business. Hey, what's up? Ank's here, too. What's up? How you doing? Hey, what's up? What's up? Beautiful Cat's here, too. Hey, how you doing? Audra's here. Hey, Audra. Great to see you. Woodtick Mike's here, too. Good to see Woodtick Mike. Dan's here. What's up, Jim? Also watching the 49ers Seahawks game. Well, good luck with that. I hope it all works out. Gundam Zig, did I see the legal retardation in my hopefully not for long state of Virginia? Oh, I did. I don't know. I wasn't really going to cover it. It's like, more on the gerrymandering bullshit, stuff with guns. I said Richard, a.k.a. Dick Parker's going crazy. He's a Seattle man. Oh, my God, that's crazy. Yes, Ramstein. Yes, it is. Brian Ogden, how you doing? Good to see you. Uzellian's here, too. What's up? More people are going to be getting killed thanks to a federal judge. Yeah, it looks like it. Definitely looks like it. Oh, Ag is here. Hey, what's up, Ag? How you doing? Great to see you tonight. Then he goes to paying tribute to the YouTube gods. Did you get the message about Jake Long? I responded. I did. And I finally broke down and got a tracking device. Well, that's terrible. I did. I did see your message. I had seen it earlier. But yeah, so anyone didn't notice. Anti-Islam protest organizer Jake Lang dragged into the crowd. Yes, Catherine K. Hey, what's up? Great to see you. I know you meant cell phone. That's what I knew. Anti-Islam protester Jake Lang was pulled into a tightly packed crowd and struck multiple times during clashes in downtown Minneapolis. Node, what's up? Great to see you. Sorry, I've been MIA. Y'all, my schedule's been nuts. Well, only lethal, I guess. Okay, so if they can't use less than lethal, does that mean they can only use lethal? Well, actually, what the judge's order, from what I've seen, we'll look at what the order is, but from what I've seen, the order says you can't do anything to peaceful protesters. Peaceful protesters. Once you start throwing shit and, blocking, anytime, as soon as you start breaking the law, it's no longer peaceful. Hey, Lisa, what's up? Great to see you. Says, don't show this on stream, but this is what happened to him. Why wouldn't I show it on stream? If it's what happened, it's the news. Brian Ogden for 5. Great to see you. So he'll kick us off with the 5. With that 5, that means we are now $5 closer to the goal. That means we are currently $95 away from the first additional hour of the show and $45 away from Bellavision. How that works is that every donation, tip, whatever you want to call it, that comes in across all platforms, Cash App, PayPal, YouTube super chats, Rumble rants, locals coins, Twitch. I don't know what Twitch and Kick and Facebook. I don't know how that works, but anyway, all that stuff I added all together. And excluding Super Tips, which is a new platform that's pinned in the chat, and Coffee, Ko-Fi, whatever you want to call it, it's all pinned in the chat. Whatever comes in, I add it all up, including memberships. Like if you become a member on Rumble or YouTube or Kick or Twitch, or if you gift memberships on Rumble or YouTube or any other place, I add that all up. And when the total hits 100, we add an extra hour to the show. And for every 100 that comes in, we add an extra hour to the show. So the show could be however long you want. It could be 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, whatever you want it to be. And as an added bonus, when we hit 50, we activate Bellavision for the evening. Unless, and of course, someone is generous enough to donate an individual donation of $25 or greater, which could be like 5 gifted memberships on YouTube or Rumble. That would, automatically activate Bellavision for the evening. There's Bella chilling out. There's your free peek, but she doesn't get out of bed for free. All right, so here it is. So the scene was tightened quickly as people surged into inward. Cameras pressed closer and no clear exit. Police were visible nearby but did not intervene. Why didn't they intervene? I mean, I don't know. Let's see what happens here. Yes, this is Minneapolis. Yes, this is pathetic. Yeah, YouTube with the SO can't watch a vid of a dude trying to tell if he's getting boned by a dildo or a dick, but a wounded man and YouTube gets vapors. Same if you load a weapon on video. Yeah, they're crazy. Hank said he had to clean the cat box last night. Set it outside for the neighbor's dogs. They clean it all. Oh my God, come on. Does Jake not have? I don't think he has security. Look at Lisa for 10 says closer to Bella. Thank you so much. With that, we are now 85 away from the first additional hour of the show and just 35 away from Bellavision. Thank you so much, Lisa. Yes. Oh man, that's nasty. That's what I said. Yes. Thank you. Yes, this was Minneapolis, Minnesota. So, and I guess this is what I was told not to show on stream. So let's see. A head split. Exclusive photo shows a significant gash in Jake's long head following a savage attack by the savages in Minneapolis. Yes. These people are worse than animals. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you get, they call it like mob mentality. When we get a crowd together, things start happening, and people just go insane. Yes, it's insane. Lang believes the gash was caused by a strike with a wooden flagpole. He was hit with ice blocks, water balloons, and paintballs and other weapons. There's his head. 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 Wow. Serious gash on his head. That's terrible. Wow. That looks bad. You should show the footage to him. I'm not sure if this is what did it, but it looks like a flagpole. I don't know what it is, to be honest. Well, let's see. So we got another video here. Let's see this. In Minneapolis today, someone showing him getting struck, I believe. This is all news coverage. I mean, YouTube is going to, this is news.
Watch him.
Oh, wow. Wait, but these are all wearing, see, I don't understand. These guys are all wearing masks. I I was led to believe by all the Democrats that if you wore a mask, that meant you were a fascist or a Nazi or Gestapo. But all these people out here in black bloc are all wearing masks. I mean, I don't know. If this isn't an insurrection, I don't know what is. I'm 7 hours away from -10 in the morning. Good night, you beautiful people. Rock on. Well, thank you, Brian Ogden. Thank you for being here. And thank you for your starting off the donation well. Yeah. I hope they hunt them down. Anne Marie says, I hope they hunt them down like all the J6ers. Well, they won't, because it's D for different. And they don't care if Christian Americans are attacked or killed. Yeah. That's why I say to people, ABA, man, ABA, always be armed. Stay strapped or get clapped. That's the way it works in America these days. Sad to say. Sad to say. Remind Dick Parker that Seattle won. Oh, will do. Thank you for the 2. With that 2 now, we are 83 away from the first additional hour of the show and 33 away from Bellavision. Wait, that can't be right. Oh, it is right. I'm sorry. Duh. New civil rights, Harvey Dillon. Well, maybe she will go after him. I was told it was only the right that was violent. Who knew? Yeah, who knows? You know. Yeah. Then we got this out of Maine. I don't know if you guys know who Shanna Bellows is. She tried to remove Donald Trump from the presidential ballot in Maine, arguing that he committed insurrection. She lost, of course. And now she's aiding and abetting an insurrection herself. In advance of the rumored ICE surge in Maine, Secretary of State Shanna Bellows is trying to take steps to expose the location of federal law enforcement. Federal agencies, the Marshal Service, have been informed that their license plates will no longer be confidential. The Marshals wrote a letter and says, thank you for reaching out regarding reported changes to the confidential vehicle registration within the Maine Bureau of Motor Vehicles. We are unfortunately not made aware of these changes. The U.S. Marshal Service is aware of the situation and is reviewing the implications. Confidential registrations are a critical component of protecting sensitive law enforcement operations, personnel, high-risk prisoner transports, federal security. Any change that affects the confidentiality of these registrations has the potential to create operational and safety risks that we take extremely seriously. The Marshal Service for the District of Maine did receive an email from the State Maine Bureau of Motor Vehicles stating, due to some recent changes, we're no longer issuing undercover registrations to federal agencies. Really? Historically, Maine itself recognized the necessity for confidentiality for unmarked law enforcement vehicles. Under Title 29A, Maine statute provides an unmarked motor vehicle used primarily for law enforcement purposes when authorized by the Secretary of State and upon approval for the appropriate requesting authority is exempted from displaying a special registration plate. Records for all unmarked registrations are confidential. This statutory protection underscores how essential confidentiality is safe and effective. At this time, we are actively assessing the impact of the unannounced policy change. We have not provided any formal notice. What I can say is that the U.S. Marshal Service for the District of Maine will take every necessary step to ensure the safety of our personnel. We have reached out to the state of Maine, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, to seek clarification. These are evil fucking people. You know, like, oh, they want, so, you know what, you know, like the Marshal Service has, you know, witness protection program people that go, and so now they want people to be able to find out where the witness protection people are because they can track where the marshals go and where their cars are. Are you fucking serious? These are evil fucking people. Evil fucking people. Yeah. Yeah. Election interference, Western communist national disgrace. Yeah. Shenna Bellows. Stand up for yourself, Maine. Wake the fuck up. Maine is part of Tim Walt's posse. Yeah.
Right now.
Oh,
The beginnings of what looks like this internal strife.
Yeah, there's a civil war brewing on the left. So, yeah. Like Phil Labonte says, if you're thinking I'm not an ICE agent, I'm not politically active on voting every 4 years, they wouldn't attack me. Think again. Remember what they were like in 2020. Yeah, remember? Tech workers say they were mistaken for ICE agents, accosted by an anti-ICE mob. What began as a casual lunch between five Twin City software engineers quickly escalated into a frightening encounter after the men were misidentified as undercover federal agents and protesters were alerted. Alpha News obtained video and spoke with one of the men, a software engineer from Plymouth, who described how the situation unfolded. Leeds said the group was eating lunch at Clancy's Deli near 38th Street, when one of the men who belongs to an anti-ICE signal chat received a message from a group labeled SW Minnesota Rapid Response claiming that plainclothes ICE agents were dining at the restaurant. Like, these people need to sue. My friend was shocked. He's on the anti-ICE side politically. He lives nearby. He's eaten there before, and suddenly he's seeing messages saying, we're ICE. The software engineers, all white males dressed casually in sweatshirts and jackets, were soon confronted by protesters who surrounded the restaurant, shouted insults, and blowing whistles, and they attempted to leave. He emphasized Alpha News that the group's political views were mixed, but he said the encounter left some of them reconsidering their positions. One of us is pro-ICE, one is anti-ICE, others on the fence. He said, after this, I think some of them are rethinking everything. Yes, these are the actual Nazis. Yeah, the best way to fight fascism is to get in people's faces and demand conformity with the mob. Yeah.
This is so cool. So cool as in like this has got to be the funniest thing I've ever seen. I know, it's like you feel like a zoo. I've never.
Then why do you care? I'm just trying to enjoy my lunch. If you're not with us, then you're against us.
If you're not with us, you're against us. Yeah, that doesn't sound like fascism to me.
What? We do custom apps for a whole bunch of companies around Minnesota and the country. Filming us?
Why are you filming us?
Because you're filming us. Here. Do I look like an ICE agent?
Yeah, you look like a fucking ICE agent.
Oh, yeah, you look like an ICE agent. You're white.
This is what's wrong with the guy.
No, it's not. Because you have no relationship with us. Wait, so do you
Why the
support?
fuck would I get an ICE?
Would you support?
Support what? The way you guys are acting?
You support
Fuck no.
ICE? Oh, okay. Yeah.
The way you guys are, I don't support ICE either.
Bootlicker either way. Then why do you care? Then you should.
I'm just trying to enjoy my lunch.
If you're not with us, then you're against us. Yeah.
I'm against them. What the fuck, man? This is what the Democrat Party is stoking and telling people to do, remember? This is all on the Democrats. These five guys should sue every politician. Tim Walz, Jacob Frey, all the fucking politicians that told them, that instructed them to do this. Sue them all. They caused this. I would sue, say I have PTSD. I can never go in public again. I can't eat at restaurants anymore. I'm terrified. Sue the fuck out of them. This actually might be grounds for the Civil Rights Division of the DOJ to bring charges against Tim Walz and them. They provoked this. They incited this attack on citizens. Yeah, pull out your phones, record them, go get them. I'm going to tell you right now, if I was at a restaurant and this happened and they accused me of being an ICE agent, I would tell them to go fuck themselves. And I would probably end up going to jail for busting a couple fucking people's grapes. We can't negotiate or reason with them. And we can't. Thank you for the 5. With that, we are now 78 away from the first additional hour. And 28 away from Bellavision. I mean, this is beyond ridiculous. They will kill you for $1. Yeah, they will. Sue Reddit and shut it down. Yeah. Was that the Hell 9000? Could be. Could be. It's just ridiculous. Really. Really. All the arm raised in the picture gave me shivers. Just thought about how bad the BO smelled. Yeah. They did all this through Trump's first term, and it rapidly escalated going into elections. Left will create as much chaos as they can all the way to the midterms. The mainstream media will run nonstop negative headlines against Trump. They chanted yesterday as they chased him, man, if you're not with us, you're against us. Yeah. This is no longer maybe issues that we deal with it or our children will issue. It's time to take back what's ours. Fuck, this sucks. Such a sad sight to see. Yeah, I saw another random dude getting chased down the street by an actress because he looked like ICE and refused to say F ICE. Yeah. They are far more likely to attack anything perceived as a soft target, even vaguely associated with the ideas and people they don't like, perhaps even more so than actual ICE agents themselves. Mobs are terribly predictable. Habitual non-thinkers succumb to their ways when forced to think while facing a mob. Not unlike learning to swim after falling overboard, the success rate is not great. I have a couple bookmarks I want to. Yeah. No. Here's Americans are now demanding a criminal investigation into migrant illegal alien St. Paul, Minnesota Mayor Kathy Kaholi Her after she doubled down on having residents call 911 on ICE agents. Tim was doing his best Mark Antony impression with that speech of his. Yeah. No, this is a criminal conspiracy to impede. Levy charges now and deport her.
But, we are also letting people know where it is that, they can go in order for them to have individuals who might be there to protect them, right? We know that there are certain locations that we have constitutional observers who are ready to support and to document. We are also informing people that if you are scared and you are worried, call 911. Our local law enforcement will show up. And so that is the best that we can do is continue to provide the best information as possible.
Did they show up for that guy getting beaten by the mob? Did they show up for those people at the restaurant getting accosted? No, they didn't, did they? No, they only show up for you people, for the left. It's a game. Yeah, that's a humung, and she needs to go her back.
To keep each other safe, but that means that requires our communities to continue to show up for each other as well. And they have heard our call, and community is showing up.
So they've heard our call, and community is showing up. So she admits that she made the call for those people to show up at the restaurant and accost those 5 civilians that were just eating lunch. She made the call to have the mob show up and beat Jake Lang. Trump, what the fuck, man? It's way past time. Invoke the Insurrection Act. Start arresting all these people. All of them. All of them. Yeah, showing up to riot. Yeah. UW-Madison says it all. Yeah. All of them. Arrest all of them. Mm-hmm. What a clown show. Telling people to call 911 on law enforcement is beyond stupid. That sure is. Here's Jake Lang. Here we go. Ladies killed on a subway. Nobody does nothing. Charlie Kirk was shot. No cities were torn up, burned, or nothing. Lady decides to drive a car at an officer of the law, and you're all tearing up a whole fucking city. Let's see what this astute, elderly African-American has to say.
I'm just saying, ladies killed on the subway. Nobody does nothing. Charlie Kirk was shot. No cities were torn up, burned down, or nothing. Lady who wasn't even fit enough to raise her own children decides to drive a car at an officer of the law, and y'all tearing up a whole fucking city. I've said you a special kind of stupid, but right now y'all just acting downright ignorant. Buck your feelings. That's the fucking facts. Anything that's happened, this is what you picked to stand behind. I'm just saying, come on, make it fucking make sense. Y'all look real stupid right about now. I'm just saying.
Here, here. Here, far-left extremists pursued anti-Islam activist Jake Lang for several city streets with impunity after pulling off a ledge and beating him. Once he got in a car, they refused to let him leave and beat him more. Oh, what do you know? Here's more video about Jake Lang getting beaten, stabbed, head split open.
Hey, stop.
Wait, let them go. Let them go. Drive the car. Leave it up. No. Y'all just let him leave. It's not working. Hey, stop. Hey, let him out. Let him out. Fuck that nigga, man.
Well, I sure hope that they focus, that all the attention goes through and focuses on every face, and that the FBI gets all these people. Here's Commander Bravino confirms that anti-ICE rioters are destroying private vehicles of civilians thinking they're ICE. Oh, what do you know? Yeah, they're also attacking people in restaurants because they're white. These are all racial hate crimes. You look like ICE. What do you mean? You're white. That's what they're doing. That is what they're doing. Should be bang. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, he has a right to his opinions. He shouldn't get beat for them. Yeah, content of character, not color of skin. That's what I'm saying. But the left is the one who bases everything on color of skin. I hope you realize that. They told these guys, you look like ICE agents. What do you mean? You're white. What? Yeah, buy that man a drink, definitely. Snarf says, I'm going out tonight. Where is the FBI? I don't know. Where is Cash Patel? Probably on Fox, talking about how they're investigating. Satan does love his little helpers, as he does. Mayor Frey and Tim Walz haven't said a freaking word to help put a stop to this. Innocent Minnesotans are victims of these two. Yeah.
Anarchists, and I'm calling them anarchists now. These anarchists, these rioters, these bad people that wish to harm law enforcement are now harming American citizens. Those vehicles you mentioned that were vandalized, they've also, we've received reports, vandalized indiscriminately many vehicles in those hotel parking lots. They don't care if it's government vehicles and then they happen to get several vehicles of American citizens, innocent civilians, they don't care. And we're seeing that now. We're hearing reports from the police that that's happening, throwing nails out in parking lots where our government vehicles are not even located. They don't care. So these anarchists truly do not, they truly do not go towards federal law enforcement only. If you get wrapped up in this and you're a mom and pop American, you get wrapped up and they even think you're law enforcement, then you're getting it also, and that's a big problem. I think that should probably wake some people up as to the depth and the scope of these anarchists.
Yeah, I'll say. Democrat activist Jennifer Welch and Jim Acosta say mass prosecutions of Trump and Republicans would need to be necessary for national reconciliation when the demon rats regain power, arguing that expanding SCOTUS would be required to jail Trump. Oh, these are
Hall Elon.
These are evil fucking people that should be, catapulted out of society.
Blue tsunami means that Congress is going to haul Elon Musk, big balls, and a bunch of other people's ass in front and say, what crimes did you commit? And it's going to get really serious. And the same with Trump, because I believe, and this is just my opinion, that Trump and all of the bottom-feeding morons surrounding him and Elon Musk and all the bottom-feeding Klingoners that surround him, I think they commit crimes every day. And I think to reconcile all of this is going to take hardcore, not integrity Democrats. Fuck you, Democrats. Fuck you for fucking over our country. We are serious about this. We are prosecuting. We're going to uncover every document, every phone call, everything you did. We will be relentless about it. And that's the mindset they've got to have, because I think the electorate is going from, we've got to get.
Well, I would say that this is exactly what the Trump administration should be doing right now. All their communications conspiring behind the scenes to violate federal law, to subvert federal law, to impede, to oppose federal law. Arrest them and charge them. If she's talked to one person on the phone and talked about doing things and plotted it, arrest her. Put her in fucking prison. All right? Send them to fucking Guantanamo and have military tribunals. I don't give a fuck. I'm done. You want fascism? Here it comes. Enjoy. Yeah. It looks like I might make it back soon. My team is getting spanked. Well, yeah, she needs to crawl back to her stump. Yeah. Trump is taking notes on everyone. He should be. Dodge finding their money skimming back to DNC is why they're mad. Yeah. Yeah, they need to do something. Sylvie's here. Oh, this one, she's a nutter. Yep. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Definitely. It's gonna. But I can't. I can't even watch these people. We saw this. Jake Lane is attacked, assaulted. This is like earlier video. Look at him. Oh, here. This is very important. It's a very important public service announcement for everybody. You guys.
Recent lab findings has the CDC warning liberal women to avoid pink and blue hair dye. We take you now to the CDC.
The dyes not only led to an increase in aggressive behavior, but the mice also developed unusual vocal capabilities.
Trump, Trump, patriarchy!
Be careful what you color you dye your hair. Be careful. Be careful. All right. FBI captures. Let's jump into this story. All right. FBI captures one of its 10 most wanted fugitives in Mexico 10 years after his heinous crimes. The FBI announced Saturday it had arrested Alejandro Rosales Castillo, who has been a 10 most wanted fugitive since 2017. You notice Microsoft Windows can see now? Maybe. FBI Director Kash Patel said Castillo was arrested in Mexico on Friday. The fact that this is, you have a fucking spelling error like this tells me what is going on. He had been wanted in connection with a 2016 murder of his former co-worker, 23-year-old Sandy Lele, in Charlotte, North Carolina. Alejandro Castillo is the fifth FBI 10 most wanted fugitive captured since last year, more than the entire previous 4 years combined. That's right. So in 1 year, President Trump and Kash Patel's FBI have caught 5 of the FBI's 10 most wanted people. That's more than Biden caught in his entire 4 years. It's Tony. If you want to pretend to know me, do it right. What's up, Tony? Great to see you. Rant. All right. We got it from Spicy Sophisms. Says, does anyone know a good family divorce lawyer or civil lawyer generally in North Carolina? This all came as quite a surprise, and part of it is urgent, so appreciate any pointer. Spicy Sophism at pm.me. I don't personally know anybody. North Carolina. Maybe reach out to Barnes or somebody. They could possibly connect you with somebody. They have a wider network. But I'm trying to think, like North Carolina, I don't know. I mean, if it was Georgia, I could recommend somebody, or Florida or Illinois or Wisconsin, but not North Carolina. I don't really know many people in North Carolina. But thank you for the 1. And then Dizzy D came in with a 10. Thank you all so much for that. So that means that's $11 off. So that means we are currently $67 away from the first additional hour and $17 away from Bellavision. Thank you all so much for all your help. Whatever Bonnie Trump is going to do, it must be completed by the summer, say end of July. Yeah, they better start now. Better start now. Yeah, that effect reflects leadership, not luck, Patel said in a statement. When law enforcement is given clear backing and the freedom to act, results follow. The work of the FBI Charlotte field office, our state and local partners, and Mexican authorities was exceptional. And this arrest finally opens the door to long overdue justice for Sandy Lele's family. Yeah, civil wars aren't quick. Representative Pat Harrington praised the capture and thanked the FBI's Charlotte field office. Yes, thank you, Dizzy D. Thank you. AI needs us to have a purpose. Nearly 9 years after a Charlotte murder, the man responsible is finally in custody. Grateful for the persistence of the FBI Charlotte's office, the CMPD, Charlotte Metro Police Department, and our federal partners who never stop working to bring justice home to North Carolina. And Tony says that the Knights of Malta used to be a religious organization, then a state that had a property on a now island of Rhodes before being ousted and moved to the island of Malta off of Italy, where they got their name. Interesting. FBI Charlotte said in a press release that Castillo was captured in Pachuca, Hidalgo, Mexico on Friday. The field officer said Castillo is detained in Mexico and is awaiting extradition to North Carolina. Wow. FBI and our partners at the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department have worked tirelessly to find and arrest Alex Castillo. For more than 9 years, he lived a normal life, likely believing he would never be captured, but our experienced investigators never gave up the hunt for justice. Sadly, Sandy's family began another year without her. We hope knowing her accused killers in custody will provide some level of solace now. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Chief of Police Estella D. Patterson said the case showed the power of law enforcement cooperation. This joint effort sends a clear message that those who commit violence cannot outrun justice. Bringing this fugitive to justice makes Charlotte and other communities safer, and while nothing can heal the loss Andy's family has endured, we hope this step brings them closer to some peace. So is the Mexican president trying to play nice with Trump? I don't know. Russ Ferguson, U.S. Attorney for the Western District of North Carolina, commented on arrest, vowing that those engaged in violence will not get away with it. No matter how hard they try, we'll get them. Castillo apparently owed Leigh $1,000, and she disappeared after agreeing to meet him at a gas station. Authorities later found her vehicle in Phoenix. Castillo was added to the 10 most wanted list in February 2017. Two other suspects were charged in connection with the murder. Mia Feaster, who was initially listed as missing, turned herself into authorities in 2017 and was extradited from Mexico to North Carolina. Reported at the time, the outlet said Feaster faced several charges, including accessories related to murder. A third person, Felipe Olola, was charged with accessory after the fact in connection with the murder. Fox News Digital reached out to CMPD and Justice Department for comment, and no comment was forthcoming. We will. We will talk about this Jake Lang thing in 1 second. Oh, no. First, I want to do this. FBI captures 10 most wanted fugitive in Mexico. So I just want to go through and see if there's anything, if there's any kind of news coverage or anything. There wasn't. I didn't know if there was a news story. I wanted to see if there was a news story to talk about it, but there wasn't. So we'll now jump into Jake Lang thing. Lefty protesters stabbed January 6th rioter. Really? He was a rioter? I don't know if he was a rioter. I think he was just a protester. GOP candidate who shouted, "We deserve a future for white Americans." Oh, let's see.
I do not want to strike you. You will not. Unhandle me. Hey guys, make some room. Let them get the out of here. Back up. Hey, don't get in the
Oh, look at that. The cops just backed off and let them do what they want. What do you know? Wow, what do you know? The police did nothing, yeah. The police did nothing, as usual. Left-wing protesters attacked and stabbed pardoned J6 protester, a Florida Senate candidate, Jake Lang, Saturday after his march against fraud was met with a violent pushback in Minneapolis. Well, yeah, police let them beat him. Yeah. I hope the Justice Department goes after the Minneapolis Police Department. Find out if they were ordered to let this happen. Yeah. Yeah, Jake Lang. It's like a Black Friday openings used to be. Lang was repeatedly bashed in the back of the head by several protesters who swung fists, flags, and objects as he fled the scene. Yeah, he might be anti-Islam, but he was not violent like the left-wing mob. No, he wasn't. Is this when the peaceful protesters were chasing the one guy? Yeah. Oh, look, this guy's got a knife in his hand. There's his face. So I hope he doesn't get identified. Right there. He's got a knife in his hand. You see it? Oh, interesting. Photos show a bloodied Lang bleeding from the back of his head and snow is his hair. As one ex-user claimed he'd been beaten. So one user claimed he'd been beaten. There's no evidence he's been beaten. Yep, he can sue Mayor Frey now. He should. He ran into the hotel and they kicked him out. Oh. Sue the hotel, too. Being anti-Islam isn't a bad thing. It's his right to be anti-Islam. Lang posted on X, he was stabbed by a crazy white commie leftist rioter and wrote the tactical vest he was wearing blocked it. The chaos comes amid weeks of a heightened tension in Minnesota where demonstrators have been repeatedly asked to tone down their aggression. Yeah. Tone it down a little. Just don't kill anyone. On Saturday, Lang arrived with a handful of people while a different demonstration from the George Soros-funded People's Action Coalition against Trump took place in the street. So you can sue George Soros, you can sue the organization, sue all these people. There needs to be, where's some lawyers on the right side to come and start filing lawsuits like the left does? You know, the ACLU, if this was the opposite, if this was a right-wing protest, and a bunch of lefties got attacked like this, or a couple lefties, You know the ACLU would be suing everybody who organized it, just like they sued everybody involved in the Unite the Right rally. You know, Brian Ogden says, ground control to Major Tom. Lawyers will solve this. I don't know if lawyers will solve this, but something needs to happen. Something needs to happen, Rocky. So with that, we are 65 away from the first additional hour and 15 away from Bellavision. Something needs to happen, Rocky. Morgan and Morgan. No, Morgan and Morgan are leftist fucks. A religion that will kill you if you leave is not a religion of God. I thought you went to bed, Brian Ogden. Sue the city? Yeah. Not with the lefty judges. I don't know. Depends on where you sue. Something needs to be done for sure. Yeah. A large volume HVLI and napalm could solve it. Yeah. Something. 90% of lawyers are leftists. Yes. You grew up hearing about them in Tampa. Yeah, they're left-wing fucking wackadoos. The two Morgan brothers. Yeah, Johnson planted all these seeds. He did. Yeah, fuckers. What does it say he was doused with? Doused with an unknown liquid. Yeah, one user claimed he'd been beaten. This is the guy who stabbed him. Lang was surrounded by press and counter-protesters, wore a bulletproof vest, and spoke into a microphone hooked to a sound system that he live-streamed in his 49-minute protest. He played Vanilla Ice's song Ice Ice Baby, which fought for volume against wailing police sirens, the yells of counter-protesters, and the agitator himself aggressively yelling into the microphone. Language, my virgin ears can't take it. Sorry. You're being replaced. Do you understand you're being replaced? Lang screams into the microphone, later yelling, we deserve a future for white Americans. Send the Somalis back. Another point, when the camera went dark, Lang could be heard saying, we don't need weapons here. Leave that shit alone. The Minnesota National Guard was put on alert with video showing the Guard rolling Humvees into the areas as they got ready for the demonstrators. If I douse you with a known liquid, I have failed. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jake Lang is a very litigious person, from what I understand. So who knows? Maybe he's gonna sue a bunch of people. I mean, yeah, he promotes whites. We can't have that. He made the Civil Rights Act protecting one-color people violating his oath not to discriminate due to race or color, direct violation of oath and white males' rights. Yeah. Well. In other news, the Trump administration tried to merge the DEA with the ATF. It quietly abandoned the plan. After pushback from both gun rights groups and gun control groups, the Trump administration has quietly abandoned its plan to merge ATF and DEA, according to people briefed on the matter. Yeah, he has the right to protest. He has the right to do all that stuff. And them stopping him is a violation of his civil rights. And they're actually, all the people who did that, attacked him, and the police force will let it happen, and the mayor and all of them are guilty of violating his civil rights. They violated his civil rights. They violated equal protection under the law. They violated numerous constitutional rights by doing what they did. So let's see if something happens. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche announced the plans last year to merge ATF into DEA, a proposal that would require congressional budgetary approval and is part of the early administration's wide effort to shrink the size of the federal government. Officials involved in the proposal told CNN at the time of Blanche's proposal that the two agencies had different missions. ATF is tasked with investigating violent crime, gun trafficking, arson, and bombings, while DEA's agents enforce the nation's drug laws, but they naturally went hand in hand. Where there are drugs, there's usually guns, and where there are guns, there's usually drugs. That's not true. I mean, where there's drugs, usually there's guns, but guns don't mean there's drugs. The hate, Sylvia says that the hate against whites reminds me of South Africa, kind of. It sounds like consolidation, yeah. The effort was reaffirmed in June when the Justice Department officials suggested eliminating the ATF as a separate component with its function merged into drug enforcement, leaving DEA as a single component that will address violent crime, drug enforcement, and crimes related to firearms. Administration officials' expectations that pro-Trump gun rights groups would welcome the plans were dashed almost immediately. Some conservative and gun rights groups have long called for ATF's abolishment, but raised concerns that a merger with another agency would empower the agency's gun-related efforts, not weaken them. The MAGA groups want ATF gone and the laws it enforces repealed. Giving its powers to another agency makes things worse. Oh, look at this. Anthony. For 1776 says, struggling tonight, need Bella, missing my service dog. Replacement my ex's family gave me is so different. Still love him, but we can't both be needy. And he needs me almost as much support as I do. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Anthony, but thank you so much. So with that, 1776, we do get Bellavision for the evening. There she is. There she is, the Mrs. Bella, chilling out, as that's what she's a good fella. And so with that, 1776, that means we are 15, that's 50. That means we are now $48 away from the first additional hour of the show. Thank you so much, Anthony. Yeah, Bella, Schnarf, ask Jim. What? Ask Jim what? It's to New York. Tony. That's a joke. You know, like people would say, like, why? You know why all these Italian? They would say, like, oh, all you Italian guys are named Tony. That's because when you showed up to Ellis Island, they just your mother, when she sent you here, she wrote to New York on your shirt, so it's a Tony. So people just called you Tony. We all need Bella Tony. Regulating guns is a hot potato. Everyone is eradicating illegal drugs. It's for eradicating illegal drugs. Not everyone is for gun regulation. So I agree. Democrats and left-leaning gun groups also decried the plan as an attempt to sideline ATF and harm efforts to reduce gun violence. But at the White House, the backlash from conservatives froze any momentum for the merger. Stephen Miller, the chief of staff, was initially in favor of merging the agency, but later came to advocate for ATF's role in crime fighting efforts in cities, a top priority for the president, people briefed on the matter said. At some point, no one seemed to want the idea of a merger. Pro-gun groups like the FPC warned that merging the two groups would create an authoritarian super agency with the combined powers to wage the failed drug war and enforce unconstitutional federal gun laws against all Americans, not just violent criminals and cartels. This would be a disaster for gun owners and the Second Amendment. I agree. Yeah. Hell yeah, guns are way cooler than drugs. Combining the ATF with other federal law enforcement agencies will only supercharge its unconstitutional attacks on the right to keep and bear arms. Yeah. What part of shall not be infringed did they not understand? They don't understand it. They don't. Rant. Oh. Wow. Anne Marie comes in hard and fast. Soldier, get a cat. Wow. And with that, folks.
Red Chinese victory. Impossible.
Hold on, that got all screwed up. I got to do it over again.
Tactical assessment. Red Chinese victory. Impossible. America will never fall to communist invasion. Communism is the very definition of failure.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie, for the 50. And with that, that was my allowance for the week. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. And with that, folks, that means we are now $98 away from a second additional hour of the show. Well, thank you so much for that. 1800s, like 6 famines there. Yes. Yes. Thanks, Anne-Marie. Yes. That's a W for the win. Did you know the Polish Navy doesn't have submarines? They couldn't figure out how the screen door works. Yes. They couldn't. Yes. Thank you so much, man. Wow. The push to merge the agencies has surfaced several other times over the years as administrations have wrestled with what to do with an agency's office buffeted by politics and surrounding gun rights issues. Joe Biden, when he was vice president, floated the idea and discussions about a task force that was set up to tackle mass shootings and gun crime in the Obama administration. An ATF representative declined to comment on the story. The decision to abandon the Trump administration's plan comes as the White House works to secure Senate confirmation for Robert Cicada, who was nominated as director of the ATF. The agency has struggled with lengthy leadership vacuums amid the political turbulence that comes with regulating guns in the United States. Yes. If confirmed, Cicada would be the third leader and first in a Republican administration to win Senate approval in 20 years, since it became subject to Senate confirmation. VSync says, hey, go ahead and read about the winged hussars before mocking Polish military prowess. Oh, man, listen. I'll tell you one thing. Like, the people always like to say, oh, the Polish, blah, blah, blah. They charge tanks on horses with lances and stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's badass, man. Like, the Poles did have tanks. It was just they didn't have them. They didn't have them arrayed the correct way to battle the Germans. Like several countries were like that, even before World War II, started. Before the Germans showed how to use, basically the Germans developed how to use tanks, how to use tank warfare. So everybody just had tanks as like part of infantry that would assist the infantry. Like they would have a couple tanks assigned to each infantry, battalion or something like that to go and help them move and, to knock out like pillboxes and stuff like that. They weren't used as like a separate force that would charge ahead and break through lines and do things. The Germans did all that. The Germans established what, Blitzkrieg and all that. Yeah, the winged hussars are cool too. Yeah. But, so Poland had pretty good tanks, actually. They were pretty good tanks that they had, but they didn't have them concentrated in enough place to where they could actually battle back onslaught from both the Germans and the Russians. People always like to forget that the Russians attacked from the east and the Germans attacked from the west. The Russians, they always say, oh, no, Germany, blah, 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 Poland, but the Russians did too. But anyway, I digress. The Poles were very brave and fought as best they could, but they just didn't have the ability to fight them back. That's all. Percy Harbour from Britain came up with Blitzkrieg, and the Germans used it. Oh, okay. Hobart. Oh yeah, you know what? I think you're right. I think they watched on Salisbury Green, I think it was, or Salisbury Plain or whatever it is. They watched the British tanks, and that's where the strategy got developed. But as far as like what the British didn't have dedicated tank battalions or anything like that until after they saw what the Germans accomplished. Same with the French. The French started doing it, but they didn't get it massed enough to be able to counter back again. They tried at the last thing. It was like de Gaulle, I believe, had 2 battalions or 2 companies of tanks and tried to make an attack and didn't. Got basically brushed aside. But very interesting. Tony says, my grandfather was Italian, fought in World War II, and brought back a Belgian wife. He was racist even against Polish people. I never understood why. Some people think that the Poles and the Germans and the Russians are all the same people, basically. The story of the Polish submarine Orzel escaping from occupied Poland should be a movie. Yes. It was called the penny pocket method of deploying tanks. Also, a U.S. officer tried to find the source of the term blitzkrieg and found Germans never used it. Okay. I thought they called it lightning war. I still have a table and chairs they brought back with them. You didn't? I don't know. I don't know what that means. You didn't. Remind me who was first to introduce aerial warfare via balloons? I'm not sure. I think it was a long time ago. I know that. It was back during Napoleon's times, I think, right? Or was it before that where they went up in balloons and were dropping bombs out of the balloons? I don't know. Oh, hey, what's up? Hello. Hello, Donald Trump. Thank you. Yay, Ren. How do you invade walking backwards and tell me you're leaving Poland? Yeah, I guess. What's up, Mr. Sneaky Sean? Great to see you. Yes. Why I don't... There he is. Yeah, there he is. Japan had the first air-to-air kill in World War I. Yeah, but they were using... do you like Emmanuel Macron? I don't know. I mean, he seemed kind of authoritarian. Used terms like... Used was mobility warfare, combined arms, never used lightning war, blitzkrieg. Either way, I am biased. My mom is from Warsaw and my dad's from Ukraine, but it was Poland at the time he was born. That's why I'm so pretty. Good genes. Oh, well, fuck Macron. Yeah, he seems like, I don't know, like maybe he gets fucked by his wife, if you know what I mean, according to some people say. They called it the First World War, ignoring the Napoleonic Wars. And wait, somehow I did not even realize Japan was in World War I. I thought I just fought the Russian and Chinese and such. Bella's going to need a bigger boat. Yeah, she's going to. But, yes. Yeah. I have a family from Krakow and from Slovakia. I'm an Irish, Mongolian, American Indian, and dad is part African. My skin is light, or what color racists call white. With a family history heirloom. That's cool. Love Bella, yeah. So let's see here. Krakow, very beautiful city. Yeah. Cicada currently serves as deputy ATF director and is a 21-year veteran of the agency. Current acting director Daniel Driscoll also serves as Army secretary, and while he is initially viewed as a skeptic of the agency, has become a champion of violent crime work, according to people briefed on the matter. My friends are Jews from Latvia. Okay. Balloon poppers, snipers. Sources inside the ATF told CNN that while there was an initial panic over what would happen if the plan to combine the two agencies came to fruition, those fears quickly dissipated as time went on without logistical updates of how, when, why, where, or whatever. Japan took most of Germany's paltry Pacific holdings like Saipan. Eating some cheese in Krakow now, too, actually. Hummus, too. Okay. We've been operating as if that's off the table for months. Everyone is just like, that's a funny thing they try to do. Let's just keep moving. So that was from CNN. And then we got this news from Zero Hedge. It says the DOJ moves to block independent special master from overseeing the Epstein disclosures. Lots of talk during Trump's second term, but lackluster follow through. Yeah, I'd like to see more follow through. I really would. He's turning into a true Republican. I hope not. After campaigning on transparency regarding the Epstein files, President Trump became quickly defensive when asked about them shortly after taking office last year, which continued into July when Trump clapped back at journalists who asked about Epstein's ties to foreign intelligence. Are you talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Yeah, we saw this. So we had a botched release. Look at that. Yeah, they look like, I don't know. Tony says, I'm at the VFW watching the games. Sorry if my participation is intermittent, but I am listening. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, Trump can't do everything. I mean, he's done a lot, but he needs to get back to work. He really does. Get back to work to prove to Dada I'm no jerk. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Which brings us today in response to the DOJ's redacted releases, Massey and Ro Khanna pushed for a special master to provide independent oversight and ensure both compliance and speed. An independent master doesn't have the authority to view classified material, so there's a problem there. The DOJ responded by saying it's assigned 500 reviewers to the project and has formally moved to block the appointment of a special master. A 6-page letter filed with the U.S. District Judge Paul A. Engelmeyer, DOJ prosecutors contend that efforts to force production are an improper attempt to relitigate a concluded criminal case. According to the filing, amici curiae are intended to provide neutral legal analysis, not to introduce new disputes, seek new remedies, or assume an adversarial role. The government argues that Khanna and Massey are attempting to do precisely that by asking the court to oversee DOJ document production, compel testimony from prosecutors, and effectively enforce a statute that provides no judicial enforcement mechanism. What does it say? They could put a sign out front saying whites need not apply, maybe. Maybe Trump wants to give Americans the opportunity to see and hear for themselves who the liberals really are. All the fraud, the violence. Special master sounds dope. It wouldn't be. An amicus cannot initiate, create, extend, or enlarge the issues. Because no party to the case has raised compliance with the act as a live issue, prosecutors argue there's nothing for amici to assist the court with. Now, the government's argument goes further. Even if the court was inclined to entertain a request, it could not do so constitutionally. The DOJ further argues, what the hell? Bastard. The DOJ further argues that Khanna and Massey lack standing because they were not personally injured by the Trump administration's failure to release the files. Dave Smith couldn't have said it better. Let's see what's Dave Smith going to say.
Today's guest is a comedian. He's a political commentator.
Okay,
he's a
seriously?
podcaster. You may know him from his shows Part of the Problem and Legion of Scam. Took the King and Queen.
Individual rights.
All right, I don't know. I'm not going to watch this whole thing. It's just why you would do that and put the entire fucking thing there. That doesn't make any sense. Like, are you just there to promote? You're just there to promote fucking Theo Vaughn's podcast or something? Anyway, so that's that. You know. All right. And so news came out today too. This is another story. A guy who is actually funny. Yeah, Johnson started the discrimination against white males with the Civil Rights Act in '64. Be right back. I need a coffee. It's only 7:16 p.m. in Southern California. A hilarious comedian. Yes. Oh, listen to the whole thing. I can't listen to the whole Theo Vaughn podcast. I would get a copyright strike. Honestly, I might even get a fucking strike from him from just playing that from his media fucking people. I don't know. I mean, I like Dave Smith. Theo Vaughn, some of his stuff's funny. I don't think he's very smart. Theo Vaughn, it seems like probably has maybe a 90 IQ, maybe 95 tops. Just saying. That's what he seems like. That's how he comes off. Some of his takes, some of his things that he says, it's like, dude, you're not very smart, are you? But that's why he's a comedian. Dave Smith, on the other hand, he's very intelligent. He has a lot of good takes. I disagree with him on a couple things. He's starting to get really sucked. It's weird. He's starting to really get sucked into the blame the Jews for everything thing, which is weird. Like, come on. Cocaine brain is Theo. So, statement on President Trump's comprehensive plan to end the conflict in Gaza. I thought comedians were funny. Yeah, we're supposed to be funny. But generally speaking, like, you get a little, Theo is a comedian. Yeah, Theo Vaughn. He's supposedly a comedian. He's barely this podcast now. I don't know. So President Trump congratulated the formation of the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, a vital step towards implementing phase 2 of his comprehensive plan. So it'll be led by Dr. Ali Shath, a widely respected technocratic leader who will oversee the restoration of core public services in Gaza. Yeah, so that's what Trump did. He named, under the chairmanship of President Trump, the founding executive board has been formed, and he appointed members Secretary Marco Rubio, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, Sir Tony Blair, Mark Rowan, Ajay Banga, and Robert Gabriel. Each executive board member will oversee a defined portfolio critical to Gaza's stabilization and long-term success. So it kind of sounds like we're rebuilding Gaza. We can rebuild him stronger, better, faster. The $6 million Gaza. $6 billion Gaza. The chairman has appointed R.A. Lightstone and Josh Trunbaum as senior advisors for the Board of Peace. In support of the office, Gaza Executive Board is being established. The board will help support effective governance. So, and then the board will, the appointed members are Witkoff, Kushner, Minister Hakan Fidan, Ali Al-Atwahad, General Hassan Rashad, Sir Tony Blair, Mark Rowan, Minister Rimi Al-Hashimi, Nikolai Moldanovov, Yakir Gabay, and Sigrid Kag. So, additional executive board members and Gaza executive board members will be announced over the coming weeks. He was serious about casinos. It's been interesting watching Satan's cheered and turned down everything America stands for. So Trump taps former British Prime Minister Tony Blair for key role in Gaza. So he gave a key role in post-war Gaza to former British Prime Minister Tony Blair and appointed a U.S. officer to lead the nascent security force. Trump, a real estate developer, he's also the president of the United States. Has previously mused about turning devastated Gaza into a Riviera-style area of resorts, although he backed away from calls to forcibly displace the population. British Mandate 2.0, arch globalist Tony Blair in line to lead post-war Gaza. Israel's military said Friday that it hit Gaza Strip in response to a blatant violation of the ceasefire. Well, there's going to keep being violations, and they're going to keep striking, and things are going to keep happening, and it's going to be where it is, and I don't know where he's going or what he's doing. Trump appoints Rubio, Witkoff, Kushner, and Blair to Gaza Board of Peace. It says Trump confidants, former British leader and Middle East officials are at the forefront of the Gaza peace plan. So, I mean, who would you think they would name to it? People that Trump don't like? Does that make sense? Doesn't make any sense. This story. Just in, Trump announces tariffs on 8 countries. I already subscribed. This really pisses me off. I already subscribed, and this is what you're doing to me? Tariffs on 8 countries until the deal is reached to complete total purchase of Greenland. You knew I was a snake. Yeah. President Trump on Saturday issued an ultimatum to Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, Netherlands, and Finland, declaring that 10% tariffs will take effect on February 1st if they continue plotting against Trump's efforts to acquire Greenland from Denmark. China and Russia want Greenland, and there's not a thing that Denmark can do about it. They currently have 2 dog sleds as protection, one added recently. He's being funny. Only the United States of America under President Trump can play in this game, and very successfully at that. Nobody will touch this sacred piece of land, especially since the national security of the United States and the world at large is at stake. Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland have joined journey to Greenland for purposes unknown. This is a very dangerous situation for the safety, security, and survival of our planet. These countries who are playing this very dangerous game have put a level of risk in play that is not tenable or sustainable. As the Gateway Pundit previously reported, the European countries plan to support Denmark's defense of the island, both through military force and attempts to find a middle ground with the Trump administration to prevent Russia or China from taking over. Well, there is a treaty. There is a treaty from the 50s, like, or 40s, I think, really, that gives the United States the sole authority to base troops on Greenland. The United States should be basing troops there, lots of them, like 150,000 troops. Like maybe just put entire Space Force on Greenland. That's what I would do. Something, you know. However, Trump dismissed both possibilities on Sunday, telling reporters he doesn't care about NATO. You wouldn't have NATO if I weren't president. And if it affects NATO, then it affects NATO. Yeah, that's right. If NATO needs to go, Jake Lang 17 minutes ago. All right, let me look. Let me finish this story and then I'll pull it up. They need us much more than we need them. Yes, NATO is a bullshit. We still have military base on Greenland already, just saying. I think we have 3 military bases on Greenland. I don't know if I think a couple of them are like shuttered, just have like whatever you want to call it, like custodial people there, basically keeping them from, completely falling apart. Jake is alive. No mention of being stabbed. We're not talking about acquiring. We're talking about acquiring, not leasing, not having it short term. We're talking about acquiring. He had in response to a question about potential NATO mission to protect Arctic security in Greenland. Brian Ogden says, I sent you the greatest Theo video. Well, thank you. Thule is still active. Space Command. That's what I thought. TBHBs. All right. So with that, we are now $96 away. Just $96 away from a second additional hour of the show. Thank you to everybody for all your help. Greenland is as big as LA County. It's an old colonial sentiment, silly folks. Pipeline City. Tunnel boring hydrogen bombs. Sounds good to me. We're talking about acquiring. Let's see.
One of my patients came to me worried about this shampoo he'd seen online.
The real reason you're stiff after sitting.
I paid you to not have these ads. This is how you screw me.
Without getting old.
One group taking your threat seriously is one area taking your threat, the New York Post.
New York Post treats me semi-fairly. So go ahead.
One group taking your threats very seriously is Greenland. Are you still thinking of military action there, or is anything they can...
Where? Military
Greenland. Greenland. Is there anything they can offer you for a deal?
If we don't take Greenland, Russia or China will. And I'm not letting that happen. If we don't take Greenland, Russia or China will take Greenland. And I am not going to let that happen.
Is there any deal they can offer you? Either like...
Yeah, sure.
I don't like
make a deal with them. It's easier. But one way or the other, we're going to have Greenland.
Are you okay if that compromises NATO? If NATO effectively ceases to exist?
I'm doing a great job. I'm the one that saved NATO. I'm the one that got them to pay 5% of GDP. Wait a minute. It was 2%, and they didn't pay. Now they're paying 5%. I'm the one that saved NATO. You wouldn't have NATO if I weren't president.
Would you pull the U.S. out of NATO? Would you consider doing that?
Or maybe NATO would be upset if I did it. Maybe NATO would save a lot of money. But I like NATO. I just wonder whether or not if we needed NATO, would they be there for us? I'm not sure they would.
Wow.
They would. We spend a lot of money on NATO, and I'm not sure they would.
But what would you say?
Now, what's happened is, as you know, Sleepy Joe Biden gave $350 billion to Ukraine and got nothing for it. I got rare earth back. I got, I think, value back far greater than that. And that's what he should have done. Now, if you look at what's going on with respect to NATO, we have a very good relationship. 5% GDP, and they pay us. We send them military equipment, and they pay us back the full cost of the equipment. The war is, we make money with the war, but I don't even want to talk about that. I want to save the lives. They're Russian and Ukrainian lives. I want to save the lives. That's the only reason I'm doing it. This is Biden's war. Should have never happened. Would have never happened if I were president. This is Biden's war. It's not Trump's war. All I can do
Mexican
is
missiles. Mexican missils. MX
towards.
missiles. I know what you're talking about. I'll
Which
fuck
would be number 9 1/4. You know what the quarter is, right? Right? Thailand and Cambodia went at it again, but I got to stop very quickly. I consider that 1/4 of a war.
When was the last time you made a tangible offer to Greenland yet? Have you made an actual offer to Denmark?
I haven't done that, but Greenland should make the deal because Greenland does not want to see Russia or China take over. They don't go there. It's very far away from Greenland. And Greenland, basically, their defense is 2 dog sleds. Do you know that? You know what their defense is? 2 dog sleds. In the meantime, you have Russian destroyers and submarines and China destroyers and submarines all over the place. We're not going to let that happen.
In the meantime, are you going
And if it affects NATO, then it affects NATO. But, you know, they need us much more than we need them. I will tell you that right now.
Are you going to increase the amount of military
It's
bases?
a war that should have never happened with Ukraine.
The UK and Germany are discussing plans for a joint NATO mission to protect Arctic security in Greenland. Does that change your calculus at all?
No, look, we're talking about acquiring, not leasing, not having it short term. We're talking about acquiring.
Does that require
And if we don't do it, Russia or China will, and that's not going to happen when I'm president.
Are you going to increase the amount of military bases on Greenland in the meantime?
We have bases on Greenland. Yeah.
Are you going to do more?
We put a lot of soldiers there right now if I want, but you need more than that. You need ownership. You really need title, as they say in the real estate business.
You're on Minneapolis.
Yes, you need title. You need title.
I didn't know this new hair formula could do this to my hair. Before you blow...
Shut up. Now Trump is taking a harder approach, demanding that NATO allies give up the island, calling it imperative to global peace. Yes, it says, yeah, we will have Greenland, and NATO plays along, but behind the curtains, they try to convince Denmark. They know what is at stake. It's all a political show, in my opinion. Yes, it is. We probably have just as much underground as we have on the surface. Robot underground. Crazy war people have weapons they really won't want to test. Yeah, they do. NATO falls apart without the U.S. That's true. Russian nuclear icebreakers. Area 51 stuff. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, he's a real estate guy. Yeah. Underground, dude. Under the ground, dude. Yes. Journey to the center of the earth. The 10% tariff will increase to 25% on June 1st and will be due and payable until such time as the deal is reached for the complete and total purchase of Greenland. The United States of America has immediately opened a negotiation with Denmark or any of these other countries that have put so much at risk, despite all we have done for them, including maximum protection over many decades. We have subsidized Denmark and all the countries of the European Union and others for many years by not charging them tariffs or any other forms of remuneration. I was wondering about DUMBs and space platforms. Yeah, deep underground military bunkers. Now, after centuries, it's time for Denmark to give back. World peace is at stake. China and Russia want Greenland. There's not a thing that Denmark can do about it. They currently have 2 dog sleds as protection. They recently just added 1. Yes. On top of everything else, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, the Netherlands, Finland, and journeying to Greenland for purposes unknown. Very dangerous situation. It's imperative that in order to protect global peace and security, strong measures be taken so that potentially perilous situations end quickly without question. Starting on February 1st, all the above-mentioned countries, we charge a 10% tariff. And on June 1st, the tariff will be increased to 25%. The Antarctic Circle is crazier. Okay. Thousands of miles. Yeah. The United States has been trying to do this transaction for over 150 years. Many presidents have tried, and for good reason, but Denmark has always refused. Now, because of the Golden Dome and modern-day weapon systems, both offensive and defensive, the need to acquire it is especially important. Hundreds of billions of dollars are currently being spent on security programs having to do with the dome, including for the possible protection of Canada. This is very brilliant, but the highly complex system can only work at its maximum potential and efficiency because of angles, metes, and bounds. If the land is included in it, the United States of America has immediately opened negotiation with Denmark and these countries that have put so much at risk, despite all we have done for them, including maximum protection. So thank you for your attention to this matter. So yeah, so that's that with that. So and then we got this from Jake Lang. It says, I was almost ripped limb from limb. My pants leg literally being ripped off. Death before dishonor and replacement. The Lord is my rock and my strength, and he hath delivered me from the mouth of the lions. Wow. I was horrified by the videos I saw today. I'm sorry you went through this. Thoughts and prayers. Who is this guy? Oh, that's some Lamas dude, probably. Sirius Padrulian is the name of the sled team. I am Antifa. And Breitbart just has it as Trump announces tariffs on Denmark and several other European nations over opposition to acquiring Greenland. GB News has it a little different. Classic Trump. President's provocative tariffs defended over important need for America to control Greenland. Let's see what's she wearing on her head? Is that like a mop on her head?
Well, I don't know. Is this a good move by Donald Trump? It's not a new idea for America to want to take claim or make claim to Greenland.
Yeah, it's classic President Trump. You know, he does something that's provocative, comes out of the gates asking for 100%, and we all know he'll settle for 50. And so, you know, the outcome is what's important to President Trump. The way he goes about it is different than other presidents and than other leaders, but he's all about the outcome. So I think the media and you know, many politicians will freak out on the news, and then they'll settle down, and then the outcome will be productive for everybody, not just for the U.S.
So in your mind, what would
a
productive outcome be?
Yeah, I think it's a number of things. One is U.S. control of the defense and security of Greenland. I mean, essentially, we already are the defense of Greenland, and you know, we are the majority or the 50% of the power in NATO, probably more. And so the U.S. is NATO. So in many respects, we already are defending Greenland on behalf of Denmark, funny enough, and defending Greenland on behalf of NATO and Europe. So, you know, I think it needs to be more control of that security because of the space issues, you know, the connectivity to space, because of the Arctic routes, the Arctic shipping routes, and the threat from China and Russia. So the list is pretty long on why the U.S. should be in control. And then, of course, there's the critical minerals and the oil and gas. And that's important, not just to the U.S., but important to NATO and to Europe. But who's going to do that? Denmark? I don't think so. So I think it's important that the U.S. has just more control. That doesn't mean we have to own it. It doesn't mean we have to be, you know, a colonial power of any sort. It's just about control.
But America sort of already has that. So what's the point of this? If it's, you know, what more?
What's the point of denying it if it's already happened? Since we already have the ability to station as many troops as we want there, we already are more than 50% of the power in NATO. We're probably 70% of the power in NATO. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? I'm watching the game for Dick Parker. You could drive a truck down this tunnel, probably. It's just about control. Yes, control. Control. She's going to start singing Janet Jackson. Control.
What could you have? It's a base. America can use it whenever they want, as you said. They can probably extract minerals. I don't think the people of Greenland would have a problem with that if they wanted to. They can control some of the shipping lanes around there. They probably have control of some of those anyway. So what is the extra that Donald Trump will get? You talked about 50%.
Oh my God, the Trilogy of Terror. Holy shit, you're right.
That would be.
The Trilogy of Terror.
No, it's a great point. We already have a lot of capability there, but it's not enough. And it's really on the margins that we need a bit more. And so, yes, we can add bases there, but we have to have the permission of Copenhagen. And that's probably not going to work when we are providing the security, and yet we have to have the blessing of a colonial power. I mean, it's not a colony officially, but it's a territory of Denmark. So we need to have the control and the ability to build more bases and add security to Greenland without having to get permission from either Greenland or Denmark. And then, of course, with the critical minerals, Greenland still controls that. They have a moratorium on additional oil and gas licenses right now, and they've banned uranium mining, and that could be a permanent ban. So there's things on the margin that we need to improve, and that's really what the president's getting at. And I think he'll get there.
He'll get there. He'll definitely get there. You know why? Because he's Donald J. Trump, and he'll get there. He will get there. Wow. Oh, crap. Sorry, I hit the wrong thing. Hold on 1 second here. Analytics. Yes. All right. I want to thank, it's been an hour and 30 minutes. I want to thank everybody who's been here. It's been great. Please remember to hit the like button if you haven't already. And please pay attention. Pay attention to the goal. We've already hit the goal for the first additional hour, so we got another hour and a half of show to go, at least. And we are currently only $96 away from a second additional hour of the show. And that's anything. Super chats, Rumble rants, gifted memberships, Cash App, PayPal, Ko-Fi, Coffee, super tips, LinkedIn, snail mail, turtle shells, you name it. I take it all. The Trilogy of Terror was great. Yes. I will have some loot for you soon. Well, thank you. Used to fish there. Her 5 o'clock shadow is showing. The little voodoo doll with the knife. Yes, that was crazy. Yes, and there she is.
Well, I don't know. Is this?
I don't know. The president has announced that 10% tariff would come into effect next month. All right. And then we got this story. Biden judge blocks ICE from arresting protesters using crowd dispersal tools in Minnesota. The rent stays the same. A federal judge on Friday issued a temporary restraining order and blocked ICE from arresting so-called peaceful protesters. A U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez, a Biden appointee, also blocked ICE agents from deploying non-lethal munitions and crowd dispersal tools against protesters. 6 individuals sued the DHS and other federal agencies to restrict ICE tactics. Approximately 3,000 agents have descended on Minnesota to arrest criminal illegal aliens. Judge Menendez also ruled that protesters may safely follow ICE vehicles. I don't think she has that authority. The judge ruled covered federal agents are hereby enjoined from retaliating against persons who are engaged in peaceful and unobstructive protesting activities. Well, obstruction is in the eye of the beholder. The judge can't do this, can it? No. Including observing activities at Operation Metro Surge, arresting or detaining persons who are engaged in peaceful or unobstructive protest activity. They haven't arrested or detained anyone for doing that. Okay? They haven't. Now, if just because you're being peaceful, if you're standing next to somebody who's throwing bricks at ICE agents and you get pepper sprayed, guess what? You're now part of a unlawful, unobstructive, like a car running over agents, yes. In retaliation for their unprotected or protected conduct in the absence of showing probable cause or reasonable suspicion the person was committing a crime. It's all they've done. This is all retarded. Now we're seeing the Guard coming in, or will we see the Marines swarm Somalia? Who knows? I would gladly have saved Karen Black. Okay. Under using pepper spray or similar non-lethal munitions and crowd dispersal tools against persons who are engaged in peaceful and unobstructed protests. They haven't, unless they're going to try to say that just because this one person in the crowd wasn't doing anything, it's when a whole bunch of other people are doing it, you're part of the crowd. You're not the leader of the pack. Delta Force. Sleep with dogs, you get fleas. Stopping or detaining drivers and passengers in vehicles where there's no reasonable articulate suspicion that they are forcibly obstructing or interfering with covered federal agents. Why did you change it to forcibly obstructing? So you're saying they could just obstruct as long as it's not by force? A federal judge in Minnesota has ordered restrictions on ICE's tactics against protesters who aren't suspected of committing crimes. At the end, it took her over. Yeah. Separately, the state of Minnesota sued the Department of Homeland Security to stop federal agents from conducting lawful immigration raids. Judge Menendez did not immediately issue a TRO. In that case, she gave both sides more time to submit arguments. So how did this judge get this other lawsuit? That's odd. Isn't it this odd that the same judge got both lawsuits? Feds in Minneapolis can't detain or tear gas peaceful protesters. They weren't. They didn't do any of these things. Federal officers in Minnesota participating in the largest recent immigration enforcement operation can't detain or tear gas peaceful protesters. They weren't doing it. Judge Menendez's ruling addresses a case filed in December on behalf of 6 Minnesotan activists. The 6 are among thousands who have been observing activities of the ICE Customs Enforcement Border officers enforcing the immigration crackdown. Federal agents and demonstrators have repeatedly clashed since the crackdown began. Isn't all obstruction forcible obstruction? Would be easy as fuck without force. Yeah. I thought this was a very definition of obstruction. They are trying to get the judges that easy to pay off. Something. Forget the zombies. I only chew bubble gum and I'm all out. Well, the confrontations escalated after an immigration agent fatally shot Renee Good as she drove away. No, she didn't. She drove into the fucking agent, you lying cocksuckers. Agents have arrested or briefly detained many people in the Twin Cities. Yeah, for violating the law. The activists in the case are represented by the ACLU of Minnesota, which says the government are violating the constitutional right of Twin Cities residents. Yes, I'm all out of fucking bubblegum. Yeah. After the ruling, Homeland Security issued a statement saying the agency was taking appropriate and constitutional measures to uphold the rule of law and protect our officers and the public from dangerous rioters. She said people have assaulted officers, vandalized vehicles, and attempted to impede officers doing their work. I heard about the zombies years before I actually saw one. We remind the public that rioting is dangerous, obstructing law enforcement is a federal crime, and assaulting law enforcement is a felony. The ruling prohibits agents from detaining drivers and passengers in vehicles when there is no reasonable suspicion they are obstructing or interfering with officers. Safely following agents at an appropriate distance does not by itself create reasonable suspicion. It does create the suspicion. So what happens when somebody's following the agents and then they kill some agents? Is this judge going to be on the hook then for allowing that to happen? Menendez said the agents would not be allowed to arrest people without probable cause. Oh, no shit, they haven't. Menendez also presiding over a lawsuit filed Monday. Wow, so that's weird how this judge keeps getting these lawsuits, the same judge, this Biden judge, almost like they picked the judge somehow. She declined a hearing on Wednesday. We need to get most of all right now is a pause. The temperature needs to be lowered, State Assistant Attorney General Brian Carter told her. Menendez said the issue raised by the state and the cities of the case are enormously important, but she said it raises high-level constitutional and other legal issues, and for some of those issues, there's few on-point precedents, so she ordered both sides to file more briefs. Yes. Yeah, she thinks she has some authority to tell the federal government they can't enforce federal law. Is this judge in Minnesota? Yeah. Yeah, like I would imagine, I would imagine it's going to be interesting, to say the least. Then the Epoch Times, it says, judge restricts ICE actions against protesters in Minnesota. Yeah, bury them in paperwork. It always works. Yeah. As long as the protesters are not obstructing the agents from performing their duties, they cannot be detained or tear gas. So that means if they're just lighting fires and burning buildings down, as long as they're not stopping the agents, they can't. What? I don't think that's what it says. The decision handed down by District Judge Menendez stems from a lawsuit. These individuals, backed by the ACLU, said that Homeland Security infringed on their First Amendment rights. You have no First Amendment rights to commit a crime. Committing crimes is not protected by the First Amendment. Rioting is dangerous. Then we got this story. The DOJ probes Governor Walz and the mini Somalia mayor over effort to obstruct ICE. Ha! Conspiracy. Conspiracy is what I say. Conspiracy. Hey, we just went over 100 viewers. I want to remind everybody to please hit the like button. We got 103 people watching and only 79 likes. So 23 people. Hit the like button. Let's go. Get on it. Get down on it. Where does Judge get the degree? A Cracker Jack box? I don't know. Like Psycho and locking the door when showering. Yeah. Probably a lesbian. Probably VHS. Yeah. Showering. Yes. Department of Justice is investigating leftist retard Tampon Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob I am a Somalian Frey over their conspiracy to impede federal immigration agents during deportation operations. Sources familiar with the matter told CBS News. Sources say the probe centers on statements Wall and Frey have made about ICE and Border Patrol agents deployed to the sanctuary city in recent weeks. Subpoenas have not yet been issued. Well, I read that they were. But sources say it could be nearing. Details remain scant. And specific comments by Walz and Frey that they have focused on. But there is recent interview in which the mayor acknowledged the existence of a network of left-wing nonprofits organizing pressure campaigns in the city. He stopped just short of identifying which nonprofits were involved. Mini Somalia Mayor Frey refuses to reveal the identities of the NGOs he's working with to organize protests in his city. DOJ is investigating the groups with funding and directives from Soros and CCP-linked NGOs.
We just showed some images of what appear to be large-scale peaceful protests tonight. In response, we have reporters on the ground who, of course, covering them. Tell us what the scale of those are. What are you hearing about what's happening on the ground? How did they originate?
Well, look, I won't speak to the work that those that have been organizing is doing right now. I won't speak to that. What I will say is there is a broad message that is going out, and that message is pretty clear, which is don't take the bait. We'll stand up for justice. We'll stand up for what is right. And we also recognize what the Trump administration is trying to do here, because it appears that they wanted a moment like this.
Oh. Observe, notice, or perceive something as being significant. Yes. Observe, holy crap, Cher is on SNL. Last comment. I swear this is Trudeau's brother. Maybe. Could be. The focus of the investigators and the White House should be the rapid response efforts of the militant left-wing groups and rogue nonprofits that were quick to activate their foot soldiers to unleash a pressure campaign against ICE agents. It's not just Minneapolis. This dark money funded NGO network was activated in other sanctuary cities like New York within hours. Second Front, how a socialist cell in the U.S. mobilized pro-Maduro foot soldiers within 12 hours. Share. I can believe in life but love. She also, my favorite song of hers is Half Breed. She's got a great song, Half Breed. Great song. The mayor's wife is neck deep involved in Somalian organization. Surprise, surprise. Once you go black, you never go back, they say. I got you, babe. Ba-bam, ba-bam, ba-bam. I got you, babe. Vicky Palladino said it best on X. ICE is doing what should be very mundane work of deporting people who aren't allowed to be in the country anymore by law, just as they've done it for years. When you bathe in a van down by the river, you don't need curtains. However, a bunch of lunatics encouraged by the media and reckless demon rat officials have decided that basic immigration enforcement is literally fascism. Literally. And they've declared war, turning routine enforcement activity into dangerous Civil War cosplay. And people are getting hurt. The federal government has every right to enforce immigration law in every jurisdiction in the country. The legal fiction that a sanctuary city is completely irrelevant. Municipalities don't get to set their own immigration policy, and they don't get to obstruct federal law enforcement. They certainly don't get to foment and deploy an army of dangerous foot soldiers to physically attack federal agents. It's actually insane that this even needs to be said. These people are coming dangerously close to committing insurrection. Sing it, Jim. Sandy Vargas, what's up? Great to see you. Driving in that drop top. We got to make an Oingo Boingo band in Florida. Yeah. He got attacked by a tree skiing. Yeah, Sonny Bono. Man. Got gypsies, tramps, and thieves. But the river ghost might get you. Yeah. If I could turn back time, do you believe in life after Islam? Sure has to be 80, probably 85. Witnesses say they saw a tree running away from the scene. Yes. This is not a fight they want, and everyone, even a half-brained demon rat, should seriously back off. If the demon rats believe our immigration laws are wrong, we have an election coming in November, and they can run on an explicit platform of repealing these laws, ending immigration enforcement, and reopening the border. I'm in Florida. It's too cold right now for the convertible. Yeah, it got cold last night. It wasn't bad today. I think it was in the 60s today. But they won't, because they know that platform is a loser. Loser. So they'll continue to pretend that the routine immigration enforcement is actually a replay of 1939 Germany, and continue to send mentally unwell liberal women and Antifa activists out to risk injury and legal peril in order to win a few news cycles. It's very sad, and it needs to stop. Trump says corrupt politicians don't obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE who are trying to do their job. I will institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me. Well, do it. The manufactured chaos in Minneapolis is part of the Democrat Party's dark money-funded NGO network that has spent years sparking riots and chaos nationwide. Remember the BLM riots? Hey, Forging Freedom's here. What's up? Just beat myself to the pool. Forging Freedom says, good evening, everybody. Rocky says I suck. I don't know. You don't suck, Rocky. You're great. Good evening, everyone. Get an electric blanket. Yeah, get an electric blanket. Use that in a convertible. Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people that used to drive with their convertible down and just have their heat blasting. You put the windows up and you put the heat on blasting, and it keeps you nice and warm in the car with the top down. It was 79 today. Look it up. Oh, okay. Man. Yeah, they burned Waymo vehicles. Wow. Hold on a second here. I am going to play a video real quick. I have to use the facilities. It's going to take me a minute to get back, unfortunately. But I'm going to play this short video for you guys. Now we're going to get into what's going on. Minneapolis, of all places, if you could believe it, blatant fraud. Feds uncover fake marriages, elder exploitation, and phony debt records after a massive immigration bust in Minnesota. You guys get double Bella, by the way. Just, you know, massive federal operation in Minnesota because they found that 50%, we're going to get to it, but 50% of the people that came in, refugees and the people that came in, they all committed immigration fraud. 50% immigration fraud. Wow. Under the Operation Twin Shield, law enforcement followed up on 1,000 cases by knocking on hundreds of doors and conducting interviews and reviewing immigration criteria. In 275 of those cases, they found fraud, noncompliance, or public safety and national security concerns. Wow, look. First on Fox. Massive immigration bust uncovers sham marriages, elder exploitation, and fake death certificates. You refused that Africans would commit fraud. Was that Cash App from you, Julio? Was that 10 from you? If so, So there's that. It says Operation Twin Shield proves what we've known for years. Immigration fraud isn't a loophole. It's systemic theft, sham marriages, fake death certificates, elder exploitation, all funded by taxpayer dollars meant for citizens. United States Customs and Immigration Services found fraud in 275 cases, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Every dollar wasted on these scams is stolen from veterans, seniors, and working Americans who paid into the system. The real issue is bureaucrats enabling this rot for decades by prioritizing optics over enforcement. Now, under the Trump's leadership, agencies are finally cracking down. ICE and the FBI are coordinating, and this coordination should have happened years ago. Yeah. I think Dick Parker, actually, I think it's possible that this is all because of her. Like that they're going to do all this just so they can go, and we found out about you too. So fraudulent asylum claims and marriage scams aren't victimless. They bankrupt Medicaid, they overload our courts, and they put national security at risk. Time to deport the fraudsters, prosecute the enablers, and redirect every cent to Americans who earned it. Islamification, the U.S. CIS Director Joseph Edlow revealed that at least 50% of the Islamic migrants in Minnesota committed immigration fraud with the help of USAID Soros-funded NGOs. That's right. Funded by Soros, immigration fraud. Biden's Immigration and Customs and Immigration Services, whatever, Director Ur Mendoza Duad designated a parole program that enabled the creation of Islamic enclave with unvetted military-age migrants in Minneapolis. Let's see. So we're going to listen to it. He's going to talk about it real quick here.
You're aware of the CHNV, the parole programs that the previous administration was involved in, bringing people in. People here were allowed to sponsor individuals to come in from certain countries. As I said, we found organizations here that were involved in sponsoring many individuals. They did not know necessarily the individuals they were sponsoring. They were doing almost a blanket sponsorship. That is fraud. That's something that should have been caught. It's something that I know the previous administration was aware of how the sponsorships were happening, and action was taken. I'm glad to see that we're taking action. You're aware of the
director disclosed that at least half the Islamic migrants in Minnesota engaged in immigration fraud with assistance from USAID, Soros-funded NGOs under Biden. Former director created a parole program. Didn't we already watch this? Is this another one? What is going on here? Is this the same thing?
You're aware.
I guess he just posted the same thing twice. I don't know. So you see it here.
The parole programs that the previous administration was involved in, bringing people in. People here were allowed to sponsor individuals to come in from certain countries. I said we found organizations here that were involved in sponsoring many individuals. They did not know necessarily the individuals they were sponsoring. They were doing almost a blanket sponsorship. That is fraud. That's something that should have been caught. It's something that I know the previous administration was aware of how the sponsorships were happening, and
wow, that's crazy stuff, right? Sorry about that, guys. I've been going through some minor like stomach flu stuff for the past few days, so could not be helped. So let's get back to the other news. So yes, massive fraud's going on. Massive fraud's going on. It was cold last night in Mount Dora. Oh, a pretty cow. Yes. 20-minute, like Iron Man. Hey, Jim. I want to see my funeral. Like, I just wonder if there's a way to get Frey and the retard walls to give up the organization they were working with. I'm sure. Yeah. A cunning plan. Yeah. They need someone to be a good orator. They need a cunning linguist. Let's get back to this stuff here. Breitbart says that CNN's Honig says sanctuary policy is a bad idea. Investigation of Frey and Walls is off the rails. This guy's going to say it's off the rails to investigate people for the conspiracy.
My lead source on this tonight is CNN's senior legal analyst and the former assistant U.S. attorney, Ellie Honig. And Ellie, I think
and Scott Pressler looks weird in a dress.
This is so clearly focused on the comments that Mayor Frey and Governor Walz have made, is whether or not anything they have said meets the definition of obstructing law enforcement.
Absolutely not. This is core protected First Amendment political speech. And you can even tell, watching that clip of Todd Blanche, that he doesn't believe it because he hedged himself very lawyerly. He said, well, it's close to obstruction. If you have public officials, as we do here, making political speech, even if it's explosive, inflammatory, aggressive, and then that causes people to protest or to call 911, That is simply not obstruction of justice. If they bring an indictment for obstruction, I promise you they will lose. And bigger picture, Caitlin, over the last week or so, DOJ has lost its damn mind. I don't have a better way to put it than this. I mean, Renee Good gets shot 9 days ago, right? Fatally shot. It's immediately clear that we need an investigation, that the minutia, the moments, the seconds, the movements are going to matter. 3 days ago, Todd Blanche announces no crime and there will be no investigation. We don't even need all the facts. And instead, the reporting is they're investigating Renee Good and her widow for their associations.
Yeah,
who they're dealing
for the conspiracy.
with. Again, First Amendment protected activity. And
It's not First Amendment protected activity to obstruct the fucking government, dude. To obstruct the feds, to try to stop them from enforcing federal law. It's a fucking crime, Mr. Honig. Man, you know, whatever with your nice suit and your fancy fucking haircut, you probably spent $500 in that stupid haircut. Where in the First Amendment does it say, oh yeah, and you can break other federal laws. You can actually assault agents, you can block them in, you can run them over with your fucking car. Yeah, it's protected by the First Amendment.
Looking criminally at elected leaders engaging in core protected First Amendment speech. They're just off the rails at this point.
Ellie, you're very fair in terms of calling balls and strikes, regardless.
Oh yeah, you're very fair at calling balls and strikes because you always say everything that we like.
A Trump case or what's happening with the DOJ now. Has anything the Justice Department done since the shooting of Renee Good made sense to you?
No. There's a couple core precepts here, right? One of the most basic things that any prosecutor does, and you don't have to be a prosecutor to understand this, is you investigate first, you see what the facts are, and then you draw your conclusion. The fact that they came out and said, we're not even going to investigate, we're not even going to look at what happened here, is against everything that you learn as a DOJ prosecutor. It's against everything I know Todd Blanche learned at the Southern District along with me. And they flipped it on its head.
It doesn't make sense to you that they are not investigating the ICE agent here, even just to look at the actions and what happened and how this played out. But
they already looked at it. They did the fucking investigation. I mean, how long does it take to look at the video and go, yeah, that was justified? That's what they did. She hit him with the fucking car. What else do you need to investigate? You want him to look into his history to see if he said something negative about somebody in the past? Maybe he used the N-word, and so they should string him up. Is that what you want? What the fuck? Come on, people. Yeah. I think the big question is, given it so clearly focused on comments, no, they're focusing on what they're doing behind the scenes, who they're coordinating with. Are they giving money to people? What they're doing. It's not protected speech to interfere and to obstruct ICE. The state doesn't have to cooperate with the feds, but you can't obstruct it. There's no affirmative obligation to cooperate. So if you say we're not going to share information, or not going to let you in our facilities, that's fine. That's not criminal. There's a big difference. There's a big difference between what they're doing, though. They're supposed to, when someone calls for aid and they say we need help, we're being surrounded by people, and you refuse to do it, that's a little different than cooperate. Yeah, the state doesn't have the right to investigate a federal case. That's correct. She's got Botox for. What do you say? Go do with this? They're gonna go to thing and go like this. No, you call balls and strikes. You always say what we want you to say. The DOJ is probing Tim Walz and Mayor Frey, but not the way they would like. Like Walz and Frey would like to be probed with a long object, a black one. That's what they're used to being probed with. Democrat investigators make up enough BAs until the desired outcome is achieved. That's what they want. Just keep looking until we find something. That's what they want. They got to just keep looking until they find a reason to charge the guy. You have freedom of speech, not actions. That's correct. Justice Department has launched an investigation into Walz and Frey. The governor and mayor threaten our officers. When the mayor suggests he's encouraging citizens to call 911 when they see ICE officers, that's very close to a federal crime. Yeah, so they need to find out what they're doing behind the scenes, what they're doing privately. Is there a conspiracy? They're looking at a conspiracy. Not so much the words they've used publicly, but what they're doing privately, what they're conspiring. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And it says, Walz responds to reports of a federal probe for obstructing law enforcement. The Minnesota governor referred to a news report claiming the Justice Department had launched an investigation. Waltz called the reports of a federal investigation an authoritarian tactic. Oh, yes. Authoritarian. Weaponizing the justice system against your opponents is an authoritarian tactic. What would you call what just happened when people say you're either with us or against us? If you don't say F ICE, we're going to beat you. If you don't do this, what is that? Is that authoritarian? When you tell people, get out there, get out there, call and report, and then people eating at a restaurant, five men just because they're white eating at a restaurant get called ICE and get attacked by people. Well, what is that called? Is that authoritarian? I smell Rico, maybe. Yeah, with her nose. The only person not being investigated is Renee Good, is the shooting, is the federal agent who shot her. They did an investigation. They looked at it, and they said, oh, yeah, this was justified. That's the end of it. How long does it take to look at something and go, is this, it's justified? Frey said the federal probe was meant to intimidate him. No, it's meant to put you in prison. Now, you're not standing up for Minneapolis. You're standing up for criminals and illegal aliens. That's who you're standing up for. Now, are you saying that's all that Minneapolis is criminals and illegal aliens? I mean, okay. I think a lot of the crazies on the left were Tong babies, maybe. Yeah, a reminder to all those in Minnesota, no one's above the law. That's right. Homeland Security agents and immigration enforcement have surged to the state. Protests have grown increasingly increasingly violent. Increasingly violent, not inflamed, violent. On Thursday, Walz posted a video telling the public ICE agents were going door to door ordering people to point out where their neighbors of color live. They're pulling people over indiscriminately. No, they're not. Even at bus stops and at our schools. Oh, hey, look, Chris is here. Jim, thanks so much for the raid last night and coming in. Much appreciated. You said my love for your show. Always an awesome job. Much kudos. Well, thanks, Chris. And I hope a lot of people, I enjoy listening to you sing, and I hope a lot of other people enjoy listening to you sing. That's why I sent them over there. Maybe you get some new fans, some people who come in and participate with you and check out Chris's karaoke talents. He's very good. And every once in a while, he has a very special guest on. I won't say who, but you know who I'm talking about. Every once in a while, Ant's on a show. Ant will come on, and they like to sing together and do stuff and play golf and different sports and things. Not sports, but video games. You know what I mean. But thank you so much for the $5. With that $5 from Chris, that brings us to $91 away from a second additional hour of the show. Thank you so much. Yeah, Walz is lying. You know how you can tell Walz is lying? Because his lips are moving. And I think I have to correct. I forgot to start another goal. I have to start another goal for another hour here. Totally forgot. Yes. Let's do this. Do this. And we are currently $91 away. Is that what it is? 91? Yeah, 91. Golden Tee Golf was dope. Yeah. So currently 91 away from a second additional hour of the show. We got an hour on that goal to go. But thank you so much, Chris, for the $5. That should have went towards it, but it didn't. Because I didn't have it set up. Good time for pets. If the Guard is deployed on a mission to support state agencies and Trump cannot use the Insurrection Act to take control of them. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Well, if Trump uses the Insurrection Act, he can just send the Marines in. Jacoby Wayne. I don't know about that either, because he could actually just take them from the governor. That actually happened. If you remember in the 1950s and then in the 60s, there was problems with states and the desegregation of schools. First Eisenhower did it, and then I believe Kennedy did it twice to desegregate schools. They took the Guard away from the state governor, because governor in Alabama, I believe, had the National Guard stopping the people from entering the school, and they took the Guard, controlled the Guard, and made them, and then sent their regular 82nd Airborne or someone in with bayonets affixed. Tony says, I struggle sometimes to communicate. I do my best to be clear and concise, but I often feel misunderstood. Thoughts help. I would say I don't think you're as misunderstood as you think. I think that's something personal inside your, inside of you, inside your brain, that you think that way. That you think people don't understand you. People do understand you. People are trying to help. People care, and my advice would be to just keep working at it, and just try to get you. You might, and I don't try not trying to play like psychologist or anything like that, but maybe possibly you might have a minor bit of like social anxiety disorder or something that makes you feel that way. You think people don't understand you or they're not getting you and things like that or something like that. But that's just something that you need to try to work through. Not so much here because I can edit. I'm talking about the real world. Oh, well, yeah, you probably do suffer from some social anxiety disorder. Maybe you probably do better when you have a drink or two. And James Ojibwa says, I think if troops are deployed in defiance of criminal law, it's sedition. No? Yeah, it could be. But yeah, if you PTSD after 2 years in Iraq, well, PTSD is a little different. You probably have PTSD, but social anxiety disorder. Like, did you ever get a weird, like, I'm talking when you were growing up as a kid, or whatever, in high school. Did you ever get a weird feeling, just like you couldn't understand what it was, like when you were around people sometimes, like you would feel like goosebumps or weird feeling when people were near you or talking to you or paying attention to you, giving you attention? Did it like make you feel, and you didn't know why, and it just gave you like a weird feeling? That's a social anxiety disorder type of thing. And it gets worse as you get older, and it makes you like not want to leave and do stuff. And it's hard to explain, but yeah, hell yeah, have a drink, pal. Trust me. They said personality disorder. Well, personality, social anxiety, it's all the same. Waltz also claimed officers were breaking windows and dragging pregnant women down the street, kidnapping innocent people with no warning. Rocky McCow says, I used to spy on people. It made them feel weird. Military brat, I was always an outsider and an outcast. Well, see, that's another thing that could make you feel like that, make you feel that in your mind, that you feel that way, that people perceived you that way, but that's something that you're putting on to them, your feelings onto them. Sorry, not sorry. Saw the hate and total destruction of my high school. My brothers were locked in classrooms, hiding under desks in fear for their lives as their school was destroyed. Oh my God. You moved every few years. Okay. I have anxiety when Ilhan Omar speaks, and I have to keep my hands to myself. Okay. In a response to the latest video, White House spokesman Abigail Jackson told Fox News that Waltz and other leaders of the state had turned up the temperature and incited violence against them. I'd like to see Walls drug tested. As a sage once said, I hate people, but I love gatherings. Isn't that ironic? Yeah. That's the world, though. It is. Impulse control. Poor impulse control. President Trump on Friday said he didn't have any reason to use the Insurrection Act to quell the protests at this time. He warned a day before he was considering using the act. Forging Freedom says the reason things are so crazy, both sides of this conflict see things completely differently. It's because we have irreconcilable differences a long time ago. This is just a spark that revealed it. This is true. The FBI's press office declined to comment about the investigation. Requests for comment sent to the offices of Frey and Walls were not returned on Friday. We got this story coming out of Venezuela. Did y'all see her in Congress this week calling our country a GAD States of America? Venezuelan Interior Minister, a Nicolas Maduro loyalist, was in talks with the U.S. months before the raid. So I think we're finding out now who the mole was, who gave him the information. You're trying to recover from the ass whooping your team just got. Well, is political violence still a both sides issue? Because I've been holding my rage since Biden took office, asking for a friend. Rant. trying to find it. Oh, hey. It's from Uzelian. He says, for $5, since you're talking about Minnesota, you should watch this video. Okay. Thank you for the 5. And with that 5, that means we are now just $86 away from a second additional hour of the show. Thank you so much. They were all scum. I agree. San Francisco 6, Seattle 41. Wow. Wow. Our government has divided the U.S. so they can continue their corruption. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot to that. Yes, a lot to that. And so, bats, guns, sticks, you name it. Every window broken, every locker destroyed, every classroom they got them destroyed, and students and teachers beaten. So again, that was all. Wow, that's crazy. Part of the destruction of America. Yeah, I mean, I saw some very interesting. Riots when I was in school and stuff like that too. Stuff had happened because that's when there was like a busing stuff happening and different things. Just didn't forcing things on people generally turns out bad. The Trump administration officials had been in discussions with Venezuela's hardline Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello months before the U.S. operation to seize Maduro and had been in communication with them since then, according to multiple people familiar with the matter. Yeah, they be busting. It's all planned. They be busting. Officials warned Cabello against using the security services or militant ruling party supporters he oversees to target the country's opposition. The security apparatus, which includes intelligence services, police, and armed forces, remains largely intact after the January 3rd raid. That's what JLP said. I love Jesse Lee Peterson. I think he's great. Minnesota National Guard members will wear yellow reflective vests to distinguish themselves from other law enforcement if activated during the ICE protests. Oh, wow. Yeah, they should wear clown noses and stuff, too. This is what the Insurrection Act was designed for? I think so. Yeah, JLP is great. You can tell he has great taste because he follows me on Twitter. Kent State, the military learned not to back people into a corner and give them avenues to disperse. What else can we learn from that? I don't know. I have to grudgingly admit that communists are very good at propaganda and gaslighting. These color revolutions are tricky. They're designed to fool the average person, and it often works. It is. It is tricksing people. Communists are very tricksy. Very tricksy. Very tricksy. Communists are very tricksy. I have that pulled up. We'll explore it. We'll explore that video. Looks very weird. Let's say gaslighting is fun. I also have good taste. Yeah. To be honest, it's how protests are off in Western Europe. Lots of violence, vandalism, strikes, fights, but we use water cannons. We should use them here too, but we don't. Hey, what's up? Neurodivergent one is here and says, make sure you hit that follow, smash that thumbs up, and repost it. Happy Saturday, everybody. Trump should send a platoon of the AC Army unit, then activate the Minnesota National Guard. Yeah, that's what I say. That's what I say. On app, so cannot click the link, ooze. I'm going to pull it up in a second. Let me just do this. Communication with Cabello, which has been also touched on sanctions the U.S. imposed on him, and the indictment he faces dates back to the early days of the current Trump administration. The administration has also been in touch with Cabello since Maduro's ouster, 4 people have said. Yeah, Caesar owned the Roman gangs. Hey, good evening, Jim. T-Rex Travels, great to see you. Caesar did own him, you're right. The Rumble Ghetto MCP in the gym house. We could use bank die cannons the way you know who was involved days later. Yes. I don't. I don't consider any chat to be the ghetto. I mean, I know you people call it that, but I don't. The communications which have not been previously reported are critical to the Trump administration's effort to control the situation inside Venezuela. Trump wants to avoid and threaten internal President Delcy Rodriguez's grip on power. It's not clear if the Trump administration's discussions extended to question about future governance of Venezuela. While Rodriguez has been seen by the U.S. as a linchpin for President Trump's strategy for post-Maduro Venezuela, Cabello is widely believed to have the power to keep the plans on track or upend them. So yeah, since Trump, SCOTUS made up the rule that SCOTUS must send active duty first. Yeah, that's what I would do. The ghetto surrounds me. I vote Grenades. Oh, well, this all too shall pass one day. Yeah. Egypt grain, yes. Next riot, they need to surround everyone and arrest them and publicize everything about every arrested person. Yeah, that's what they should do. AC is active component, just in case. Okay. That's what I thought. Walz sent a warning order to the National Guard to keep them busy while the Supreme Court ruled that the Army has to be called in before the National Guard. Marines will fix the issue. Sounds good. Send in the Marines. You guys are hilarious. I know. I'm not even trying to be funny. Cabello has been a Maduro loyalist. He's one of a handful of Maduro loyalists Washington has relied on as a temporary rulers to maintain stability while it assesses the OPEC nation's oil reserves, giving an unspecified transition period. Rodriguez has been working to consolidate her own power, installing loyalists in key positions to protect herself from internal threats while meeting U.S. demands to boost oil production. Huh. Well, that's a good idea to, do that. Boosting oil production is not a bad idea. If and when he goes, Venezuelans know where the regime has really begun to change, says Abrams, now the Council of Foreign Relations think tank. Cabello has been under U.S. sanctions for alleged drug trafficking. Hey, Lady Bama's here. Great to see you. So, the U.S. has raised the award for $25 million. So the U.S. issued a $10 million bounty for Cabello, indicted him as a key figure in the cartel of Solis. So maybe Cabello's next. I don't know. Maybe. Could be. Then, Zero Hedge has it. The Trump administration was in discussions with Venezuelan minister months before the raid. Same thing from Reuters. U.S. talks with hardline Venezuelan minister began months before raid. This says, just in, National Guard troops mobilized in Minneapolis as Trump threatens to invoke the Insurrection Act. ABC News is reporting there's 1,500 Army airborne soldiers on standby for possible deployment to Minnesota, the 11th Airborne. Oh, awesome. Lady Obama, you're not late. You're here when you got to be. M1028 rounds. National Guard troops have been spotted rolling through Minneapolis in Humvees. President Trump has repeatedly threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act if the corrupt politicians, yes, we saw that. Trump has previously said he plans to send National Guard troops back into California, Chicago, Portland, and to invoke the Insurrection Act if necessary. While departing the White House on Friday, Trump told reporters he's ready to use the Insurrection Act if necessary, calling it a very powerful tool, and I don't think there's any reason to use it right now. What's the trigger? What are we waiting for? Well, the Insurrection Act, which has been used by 48% of the presidents as of this moment, and also look at it, I believe it was Bush, the elder Bush, used it, I think, 28 times. It's been used a lot. And if I need it, I'd use it. I don't think there's any reason right now to use it, but if I needed it, I'd use it. It's very powerful. Major General Sean Mankey, the Minnesota National Guard Adjunct General, announced during a press conference on Friday that they're mobilizing elements of the National Guard to support law enforcement.
This is my hair on minoxidil. This is my hair on finasteride. And this is my hair on this new at-home.
The real reason you're stiff after sitting.
You can live a very long time without getting old.
Tonight, Minnesota officials ramping up security ahead of weekend protests.
We're mobilizing elements of our National Guard to support local law enforcement.
As overnight, we witnessed yet another face-off between anti-ICE protesters and federal officers.
Seems like we have another situation. If we turn around, turn the camera, they are now telling the crowd to move back, and you see the crowd becoming very hostile.
Later, protesters pounding on this officer's car, who drew his weapon as they drove through. DHS says 12 anti-ICE protesters were arrested for assaulting law enforcement. This suspect arrested for allegedly breaking into an FBI vehicle and stealing a rifle. All happening just over a week since the shooting death of Renee Good. Video showing Good accelerating her vehicle, an ICE officer in front of it opening fire.
Get out of the car.
DHS says the ICE officer acted in self-defense. Tonight, new documents released by the city of Minneapolis say paramedics found Good in the car with 2 apparent gunshot wounds to her chest, 1 to her forearm, and a possible 4th to the side of her head. 911 transcripts describe the chaos at the scene, with DHS requesting local law enforcement who helped agents evacuate. While DHS tonight criticizing Democratic city officials for not allowing local police to work with ICE to arrest criminal suspects.
An individual from Ecuador who murdered his 3-month-old son. An individual who's perpetuating human slavery and human trafficking. These are all the people that we've arrested in Minneapolis.
But Democratic lawmakers holding an unofficial hearing here today.
My citizenship did not protect me from being physically detained.
Slamming President Trump's immigration enforcement.
We are being provoked. We are being terrorized. And as many have described it, we're being occupied.
And late tonight, NBC News has learned the Department of Justice is investigating Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry and Governor Tim Walz on the theory they conspired to impede federal law enforcement officers. A senior law enforcement official and a person familiar with the matter told NBC News. Shaquille Brewster, NBC News, Minneapolis.
Huh. What'd you say, Forging Freedom? Do we need a wrench? Are you trying to post a link, Forging Freedom? If Minnesota law enforcement, clown status? Okay. No investigation on people because they were the brown shirts on the system, yes. The federal government can't occupy a city or a state. Well, they can if the Insurrection Act is invoked. Yeah, what the fuck? Shaquille Brewster. That's what I'm saying. Let's see here. SB Farmer. Says this. I got a couple things to pull up. I don't know what you were trying to share there. All right, let's do this. We'll start with this one. Must be Farmer. Man in Minneapolis is being confronted and labeled Nazi or alleged support for ICE before being assaulted and knocked out. Moments later, someone in the crowd shouts, "He's one of us," appearing to realize they attacked one of their own. Oh, wow. What do you know?
Okay. Okay, get up. Get your ass up.
You're not a Nazi?
That's all they asked. Watch out. He's one of us.
Oh, he's white, so.
He's one of us. Okay, good.
Okay, good. So we're gonna beat him.
He's one of us. How do we know? How
do we know? How do we know? He's white. How do we know? We got to beat him. Hey, good night, people. Good evening, Hank. Great to see you. Forging Freedom. I don't know if you want to post a link. Is that what you were asking? If you need a wrench to post a link, I mean, I could give you a wrench if you want. It was a link you want to post, or you could send it to me on X. So I don't know.
Ran out earlier. I don't know. He's one of us. I'm with them. Trust me.
Well, what are these Nazis wearing masks attacking me?
The whole time.
You pepper spray, you good? You all right, man? Hey, move back! Move back! You all right? Move back right now! Back up! Back up!
Yeah, save your Nazi. Put him in your Nazi van. Go get him some help.
Save your Nazi. Put him in your Nazi van.
Help there. Don't he? Nobody got guns. Hey, you gonna look me in the eye when you spray me? You gonna look me in the eye when you spray me?
You know, look me in the eye when you spray me. They keep this up, and someone's going to defend themselves with a weapon and seriously hurt or kill someone. Minnesota's open and concealed with a permit state. Yeah. Amazing how we are behaving. I mean, on a human level, those people really see those who disagree with them as enemies. It's so sad. National Guard is there to support local law enforcement. I haven't seen any local law enforcement. Yeah. Well, I'm wondering, honestly, if this guy who got attacked is actually an undercover cop or something, because this strange van just seemed to roll up all of a sudden and get him out of there, the sheriff. So maybe he actually was a cop that was there, you know, as like a undercover spying on the people. It's possible, the way they rolled up like that. You got to wonder how many have joined their ranks, though. I would be a bit paranoid, too, if I were them. Yeah. I've had a problem with Rumble today. Refresh. Jim practicing accents. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. The A team, the asshole team. I used to have the A team on here. I don't think I have it anymore. Yeah, I don't think I have it anymore. No, I don't. I don't have it anymore. You got to wonder how many feds have joined our ranks, though. Yeah, feds. That's what I saw. Feds. All right. The lack of surprise when it comes to domestic terrorism. Nobody does it like a Democrat. Yeah. Nobody does it like a demon rat. So this is so this is the M1028 canister that that we were talking about earlier. It's a great anti-personnel capability for the Abrams tank. It's a canister cartridge. If you look at it, and it's just like it's developed for close and defense of tanks against mass assaulting infantry to break up concentration between a range of 200 to 500 meters by discharging a large number of tungsten balls from the main cannon. So it's like a super shotgun. It's like a super shotgun. That would work. That would take care of all the problems. Looks pretty cool, too. That'd get her done, man. That would get her done. Payload, projectile body, yes. That would get her done. Oh, look at that. See how it goes? And then just like... Sounds nasty. Yeah, sounds pretty nasty. It would get her done, though. Definitely would get her done. So this is what someone sent about why the left are impossible to reason with. Where do we find those? The local surplus supply. The Abrams already has a smooth bore. The National Guard was present today but did nothing, neither did the local police. Yes, because Minneapolis is absurd. Riders on the storm. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Unto this world we're born. Unto this house we're born. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Like a dog without a bone and hacker of alone. Riders on the storm. And utters, Howitz's homies. What's up? Great to see you. Here you go again, trying to blind me again. Yeah, what's with this, what's this called? That's a demon. I don't know.
You used to be Democrat, then you had a kid. I mean, look, everyone's Democrat, everyone's liberal until something happens to make you grow the fuck up. This is why these leftists in Minnesota are acting like children. They're lacking the maturity to understand what they're doing, what they're fighting for, what the stakes actually are. People really don't have the defining moment that makes them fucking liberal. You're a liberal, and then you realize, like, oh, we have a responsibility to our nation, to our people, to our culture. This is why they're acting so insane and so savagely, is because they're still immature. They're still acting like children. See, this is the problem as well. It's like, as a mature person, it is almost impossible to argue with an immature person, which is where this issue is arising. We're not on equal footing here. We're not of equally sound mind. We're not of equal intellect here. Not of equal experience trying to have a debate or conversation. We're trying to deal with children. Have you ever tried to reason with a child? Have you ever tried to reason with an insolent child throwing a tantrum? It's impossible. You can't sit down with a child and discuss philosophy and behavioral studies. It doesn't work. They don't understand. They don't understand. And this is the problem that we're having. We cannot communicate with the left. We're unable to. They lack the cognitive ability to have a discussion about this.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised that I agree with what he's saying. I mean, looking at him, I'd think I would never agree with anything this guy says. But Forging Freedom says that guy that got beat up, that they said he's one of us. He was wearing a camouflage jacket instead of black. That's probably what got him thumped. Yeah, they probably thought, oh, he's a white guy in a camouflage jacket. He must be a Trump supporter. Get him. If we are gonna do karaoke, the Doors, the correct choice is the Alabama song. I would think people are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. Strange when you're strange. When you're strange. Don't have a chance. I've seen the shite. Yes. Jigsaw looking ass fagot. Why would anyone do that to their own body? I don't know. Wise Damon. Yes. Everyone is liberal until someone takes their money. People don't care about. Yes. Imagine if the right was as violent as the left. I could have been a hero instead of a villain. Yes, maybe. What's up, Sanglant? Great to see you. Very true. Just saying. Nobody can talk with his gay ass. He usually does this makeup just for streams. Did a stream on it. Tim Pool a while back with another conservative goth. That's a shapeshifter. We call it common sense. Mystique. The Doors suck. Hey! That's a good one, too. Strange thing to hear, isn't it? Yes. They ripped the American flag jacket off a man of color today. They are sick. Unsubscribe. Just kidding. Hey, Tiberius, great to see you. Groovy. Echo and the Bunnyman did it better than the Doors. Okay. Thanks, Jim. Love that tune. The Thing, 1983. Good movie. Learn to Be Lonely, Phantom of the Opera. Yes. His name is Jake Lang. He's a Trump supporter, persecuted J6 to be exact. No, this is not Jake Lang. The guy that got beat was Jake Lang. This is Jake Monroe, I think his name is. The Thing is there only one. The Doors are a CIA MK Ultra plant, to be honest. Yes, like a lot of people don't know that Jim Morrison's father was completely like involved in CIA military intelligence stuff, and they probably were put into the whole music, drug scene music, the peace movement type of thing to subvert it and do stuff. So that's what I was saying. The guy that got beat. Okay, all right. No, there was a different guy, Mother Peppy owns it, we watched. The guy that got beat, we saw Jake Lang. This was a guy that got beat in Minnesota with the camouflage jacket on. It's different. 5-1, probably the best Doors song. Could be, yeah. Could be a good song. I like Roadhouse Blues, too. I really like Roadhouse Blues. I woke up this morning and grabbed myself a beer. His dad did the Gulf of Tonkin or something. Yeah. Jim could memorize stuff. Sure. Oh, Boohoo says he loves this guy. Admiral Morrison. Yeah. Yep. 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 Oh, what's this? What do we got here? What's this? Oh, here. And this says, pro and anti-ICE demonstrators face off during Minneapolis ICE crackdown. They're called a group of programmers having launched. ICE also sent people after them. Yeah, we saw that. I'll pull it up. We did play this earlier. It was crazy. Uzelian. We did play some of it earlier, like a different thing. So I'll pull it up, though. Because that's how I roll. So let's see here. What's
the
this?
Minnesota National Guard now on standby. This, according to a spokesperson for the Guard who wrote on X, if our members are activated, they'll be wearing reflective
We got to do a
vests
karaoke
as
stream with
pictured
Ricada.
here to
I
help
would do
distinguish
it.
them from other agencies in similar uniforms.
Demonstrations must remain safe.
That was the commissioner of Minnesota's Department of Public Safety Friday with a message to demonstrators ahead of several planned protest events set to take place over the long holiday weekend.
Any actions that harm people, destroy property, or jeopardize public safety will not be tolerated.
It comes as the DOJ launches criminal investigations into Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. The DOJ has accused the two Democratic leaders of impeding federal efforts to crack down on immigration. Walz responding Friday night, writing, "Weaponizing the justice system against your opponents is an authoritarian tactic." Democrat Richard Blumenthal responding Saturday.
What's happening?
Okay, I just want to say before we let Tricky Dick, Danang Dick Blumenthal speak, to let everybody know about Danang Dick here. He lied about being a Marine at Da Nang in Vietnam. He said he was deployed to Vietnam and Da Nang. He never, ever was in Vietnam. Ever. Never, ever, ever. He's what you call stolen valor fraud who's in the Senate. The fact that demon rats will continue to elect people who lied about their service to this country is a fucking shame. But then again, Tim Walz did it too. So what does that tell you? You can smell him from here. Pathological liar. The fact that this guy gets elected no matter what proves we are an unserious country. What's Forging Freedom TV says, challenging 9 more people to give Jim $9.99. Jim works hard. Let's show him some love. Let's show him some love. Well, thank you. Thank you for the 10. That's greatly appreciated. And with that, we are now just $76 away from a second additional hour of the show. Thank you so much, Forging Freedom. Forging Freedom, were you trying to post a link or something? Because I could give you the mod powers if you want to post a link. So if you want to post a link, you can. And just let me know if that's what you wanted. Do you know why the Doors sang that song? So Jim wouldn't have to. Oh, Steve. Tell you what, Steve, if you can arrange it, Steve Hilliard. If you can arrange it so that the Doors will come and sing the song again, I'll never sing it again. How's that? Well, Rodney Letnam says, made the thumbs up 99. Thank you. Just saying. I'm waiting. They can't because Jim Morrison is dead. So I think 2 out of the other 3 are dead too. I think only one's left. Is Robbie Krieger the only one still alive? I think he is. I think Krieger's the only one still alive. I'm glad nobody sang it. Name the song. Just remember, the future's uncertain and the end is always near. Robbie Krieger. Yeah, Robbie Krieger. I was going to post the ABC link. Oh, okay. You can do it now if you want. Take that. All right. 100th like. Thank you. All right. Well, here we go. Let's listen to this shit.
Here is a cover-up. The Department of Justice wants to exclude state and local investigators because they're afraid they're going to uncover the truth.
Meanwhile, a federal judge in Minnesota weighing in Friday night, ruling that immigration enforcement officers cannot detain or tear gas peaceful protesters who aren't obstructing authorities, including when people are observing the agents. Federal agents and demonstrators have repeatedly clashed in recent days in the wake of increased ICE enforcement and after an agent fatally shot Renee Good on January 7th.
Law enforcement officers are being spit on. They are pouring cold water on the ground so that our ICE law enforcement vehicles will slide, crash, and potentially kill them.
This is about sowing chaos on the streets of Minneapolis. This is about political retribution.
Chris Welch, Spectrum News.
I thought Densmore died this year or just a couple months ago. Oh, he did go to Vietnam. He was double secret squirrel undercover. Okay. I actually like Riders on the Storm. I like Riders on the Storm. I also like Ghost Riders in the Sky. Johnny Cash. The Man in Black. Good evening, everybody. I'm Johnny Cash. Road hose. Yes. When you're strange. When you're strange. Brown. Okay, so protesters supportive and opposed to Trump administration's immigration crackdown clash in Minneapolis. There's been protests every day. A large group of protesters turned out in Minnesota. Snowballs and water balloons were thrown. Oh, well, if you're throwing objects at the cops, that's not peaceful protesting. There you go. We're out here to show Nazis and ICE and DHS and MAGA you're not welcome in Minneapolis. Oh. Stay out of our city. Go home. Oh, okay. Okay. A federal judge ruled that she doesn't know what the Constitution is. Federal officers break down Gibson Garrison's front door with a battering ram, another rallying point for protesters. He was ordered to be deported, apparently because of 2008 drug conviction that was later dismissed. No, it wasn't dismissed. He served time for the drug conviction, and then what these leftist states do is they'll expunge the records and say, oh, well, even though he did get convicted and go to jail, but we expunged it, so you can't use that. Doesn't work that way. Yeah, it says an activist judge is trying to stop the government from deporting criminal legal aliens. Yeah, that's what's happening. And then here's NBC News.
Security ahead of weekend protests.
We are mobilizing elements of our National Guard to support local law enforcement.
As overnight, we witnessed yet another face-off between anti-ICE protesters and federal officers.
It seems like we have another situation. If we turn the camera, I'm there now telling the crowd to move back, and you see the crowd becoming very hostile.
Later, protesters pounding on this officer's car, who drew his weapon as they drove through. DHS says 12 anti-ICE protesters were arrested for assaulting law enforcement. This suspect arrested for allegedly breaking into an FBI vehicle and stealing a rifle. While DHS tonight criticizing Democratic city officials for not allowing local police to work with ICE to arrest criminal suspects.
An individual from Ecuador who murdered his 3-month-old son. An individual who's perpetuating human slavery and human trafficking. These are all the people that we've arrested in Minneapolis.
But Democratic lawmakers holding an unofficial hearing here today.
My citizenship did not protect me from being physically detained.
Slamming President Trump's immigration enforcement.
We are being provoked. We are being terrorized.
I think I saw this already.
And as many have described it.
Yeah, whatever. We saw this already. He's a member of the Latin Kings. Yeah, I think the lion with the crown on its head that said LK, I think that's kind of a dead giveaway that he's a Latin King. Just saying. What's Critter Sitter say? Hunter Carlos. Imagine telling other Americans to stay out of their city while saying, come to our city and stay, you illegals. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's just nuts. Why do judges get to tell federal law enforcement how to quell a dangerous crowd? They don't. They don't. Jim goofed on the mic. I don't know what I did with the mic. Skeletor, yeah, he's a member. Yeah, Critter, I don't actually think they do, but they're throwing everything at the wall, hoping something sticks. Uzelian says, I would happily join the Kings. Okay. Can't remember the song. Maybe. Let's see here. Here's ABC News says federal protesters clash.
To buy or not to buy?
That is their question. And nobody knows shoppers better than Shopify. The
Sharpify. Sharpify. That's what they say. Shame.
Brutal cold driving winds, but the protests continue in Minneapolis.
You know, I just want to point out, too, that this whole shame thing became a thing because of fucking Game of Thrones. So these people think that the crowd that was part of the, you know, part of the, whatever it was, the fucking, the crazy fucking leftist church dude that wanted everybody to be like all, you know, weird in Game of Thrones. He was yelling shame and throwing shit at people and raping people, doing stuff. That's the side they're on, the crazy mob. The walk of shame, yeah, that whole thing. I can't remember what it was, the Sparrow, or whatever his name was. You know, like, what the fuck, man? The citizens that are being detained because they are interfering. U.S. citizens get arrested every single day. Citizenry does not make you immune. Yes, it does not make you immune to American law. Just read my passage before my real sleep and was blessed is he who trusts the Lord. Then they say he's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. They think this is part of that show. They do. It existed before? Maybe. I don't know. The Sparrows. Yeah. Robin Hood, Men in Tights. If it only counts if you're naked. Maybe. The Coca-Cola song. I loved it as a kid. Yeah. If I could teach the world to sing in perfect harmony, if I could buy the world a Coke and keep it company, something like that. If we could all do some Coke, we would have some company.
Shame! 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 Shame!
Brutal cold driving winds, but the protests continue in Minneapolis.
It's time to move back.
Protesters gathering outside the federal building Friday. ABC News cameras there as federal officials moved in.
So what we're seeing here is a couple dozen officers that have come out of the federal building there in riot gear, pushing the protesters that have been out front of the building all day long back onto the sidewalk. They have threatened people with arrest if they don't comply.
Several protesters eventually arrested. Officers seen here in this video chasing a protester down in a nearby field.
Where are we supposed to go?
And as ICE continues to expand what they call Operation Metro Surge, multiple sources tell ABC News Mayor Jacob Fry and Governor Tim Walz now under federal investigation for obstructing law enforcement activity. Walz responding, saying, weaponizing the justice system and threatening political opponents is a dangerous authoritarian tactic. The only person not being investigated for the shooting of Renee Good is the federal agent who shot her. And this morning, new information about the shooting of Renee Good. The first emergency calls coming at 9:38 a.m. One telling dispatchers, there's 15 ICE agents and they shot her, because she wouldn't open her car door.
Oh.
Back up, Paul. No. Back up. Now. I'm a physician.
Hey, listen, we understand. We got EMS coming.
Paramedics arrived at 9:42 a.m., reporting Good had 2 gunshots to the right chest, 1 gunshot to the left forearm, and an additional wound on the left side of her head, which the report called a possible gunshot wound. Controversy over that shooting not slowing down ICE operations. DHS saying some 2,500 arrests have been made since the operation began, including outside the Minneapolis metro area. Multiple witnesses tell ABC News federal agents ate lunch in a Mexican restaurant in Wilmar, nearly 100 miles outside Minneapolis Thursday.
Wilmar!
Then
that's where Ricada lives. Doesn't he live in Wilmar?
Closing time. This video obtained by ABC News showing officers arresting 3 of them.
Now, President Trump had threatened to use the Insurrection Act, which would have allowed him to deploy the U.S. military to the streets here in Minneapolis, but he has walked that back since then, saying, at least for now, Rhiannon, he does not think it's necessary.
All right, Matt Rivers
Awesome.
there for us in Minneapolis. Thank you.
All right.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died.
All right. So we have this story from Alpha News. Tech workers say they were mistaken for ICE agents accosted by anti-ICE mob. Yeah. We saw this. We watched the video of them doing this, telling them basically like, you're either with us or against us. It's like, well, we're against you. Who cares? Oops, wrong one. What's the wrong one? This one? Who's Elian? or the post-millennial? Which one are you trying to share? This one? The wrong one? I don't know. I'm just not getting any of that action. I don't know which one's the wrong one. Who's Elian? Alpha News obtained a video spoke with one of the men. They were at Chancey's Deli. You're talking about this one, or you're talking about the one with the post-millennial? My friend was shocked. Tech workers mistaken for ICE agents. Alpha News. Yeah, we saw some of this already. I don't know.
This is so cool. I mean, so cool as in like
So clear. Oh my God.
Now we saw this. This is just crazy stuff. They're just trying to enjoy my lunch. You're either with us or against us. It's crazy. It's crazy talk. Crazy talk. DOJ is investigating Renee Good's wife, Becca, for actions. This is old. I saw this. Yeah. The post-millennial one. Okay. It should be noted that Tampon Tim has visited communist China 15 times. Yeah, tons of times. Post-millennial one. All right. Well, here, this is someone else shared this earlier when we were talking about Theo Vaughn. They said this is very important to watch about Theo Vaughn.
Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed.
People want to know what that means that you just said. In your own word, tell us, what does that mean?
It means just what it says.
If you don't want to talk the way this Bible talks, you should keep your mouth shut. The Bible says, does not interpretation belong to God? Genesis chapter 40. Read it.
Yeah, I know what it means, but I just can't.
Please let him speak. Yes.
Means well, I know what it means, but it's just hard to understand. But you got to realize that the prophets were out there saying, "Thus saith the Lord," and they didn't even know who it was. They didn't understand what they were saying.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he didn't understand what they were saying. Oh, they didn't understand what they were saying. They didn't understand what they were saying. Theo Vaughn doesn't understand what he's saying. That's crazy. Theo claims to be autistic. He's great friends with Mike Rowe. Okay. I'm sorry I find that so funny, but some tacos and then pick up a few illegals while you're there. Yeah, that is funny, right? What in the word? What in the word of the Lord means to me to come to get you to realize that all the illegals must be taken out of this country? They were also retarded? Yeah, maybe. Michael Cohen turns against Letitia James and Alvin Bragg. What do you know? Michael Cohen's trying to make a comeback, says he was coerced. You see, he was coerced. He was ramshackled. He was hornsfoggled. He was ferginated. This is what I wanted to send you. Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, what did I do here? No. How did I move that one the wrong way? Oh, wait. I don't know what I did. I screwed something up here. Michael Cohen alleges prosecutors pressured him to testify against Trump. I gave my mom a quote from Michael Cohen. Wouldn't you know? Live first, then philosophize, some Japanese guy. Live first. Okay. Michael Cohen says they pressured him. Former attorney for Trump attorney says that prosecutors exerted pressure on him to deliver the damaging testimony. He claimed both New York Attorney General and Manhattan Attorney Bragg pushed him to provide testimony. Cohen was part of Trump's inner circle. Okay. Michael Cohen, I felt pressured and coerced by Tish James to testify. Oh, wow. Uh-oh. So they broke it. That would be a violation. He said that they pressured and coerced him into testifying against the president. For the first time I first began meeting with lawyers from the DA's office and the Attorney General's office, I felt pressured and coerced to only provide information and testimony that would satisfy the government's desire to build cases against and secure a judgment and conviction against President Trump. Wow. I know you won't play my Tim Walz commercial. If you send it to me, I will. How can I play it if you don't send it to me? Thank you for the $2. Big tit, no surprise. Definitely. Yeah. And with that, we are now $74, just $74 away from a second additional hour of the show. Right now, we're going into overtime, waiting to see if the money comes in to extend the show. But thank you very much. If you send it, Brian Ogden, I will play it because that's how I roll tonight. Heidecker. Again, I felt compelled and coerced and deliver what they were seeking. So that means the cases should all be thrown out then, right? That there was coercion. Michael Cohen turns against Tish James and Alvin Bragg. Michael Cohen is back, baby. The disbarred lawyer spent a lifetime marketing his curious skill set, a moral and ethically flexibility that allows him to do things others would find revolting. He now turned against New York prosecutors. For full disclosure, I've been a critic of Cohen for years, dating back to his time as a thug for Donald Trump, when I chastised the New York bar for failing to act against him. Cohen's North Star has always been a pure, unadulterated self-interest. His conduct as attorney was disgrace to the bar for years. He gamed the system for his own benefits. He was long known as a fixer, a legal thug who threatened students, journalists, and others on behalf of his client. His signature has been to threaten lawsuits against critics. He continued to be accused of lying. I shouldn't insult my late friend by calling Letitia James tit. Miss King wouldn't like that, and I don't believe. Well, here's the NBC stories that Zellian was trying to send. It says, federal officials investigating Renee Good's partners, sources say. Dueling protests. Okay. Well, let's see. There's a video here. Let's see what the video is first.
Dueling protests tonight in Minneapolis getting heated.
I'm 100% on board with ICE in every way.
Law enforcement on high alert as a conservative influencer and January 6th defendant who was pardoned by President Trump.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll get it.
Downtown.
And right in front of the Minneapolis City Hall, you see that conservative pre-planned protest, but you have anti-ICE protesters surrounding them, trying to drown out that message.
The latest round of demonstrations after the fatal shooting death of Renee
That
Good
we're
by
now
ICE
$72
officer Jonathan
away.
Ross. Two people familiar with the investigation into that shooting now telling NBC News federal officials are investigating Good's partner Becca to determine whether she may have impeded that officer before he opened fire. In a statement, her lawyer says there has been no contact from the FBI or federal officials indicating Becca Good is the subject of an investigation. As the Justice Department also investigates Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey for allegedly conspiring to impede federal immigration agents through their public statements, two sources tell NBC News.
The most striking thing about this investigation is that it appears so far to be centered primarily on the speech of Walz and Frey. But if they find any additional conduct, then speech plus conduct can be punished.
The Justice Department tonight not commenting. Frey calling it an obvious attempt to intimidate me. Waltz writing, quote, the only person not being investigated for the shooting of Renee Good is the federal agent who shot her. But even in areas without protests, many residents in Minneapolis are hurting.
You're just constantly, your head's on a swivel.
Stores are empty, like your day-to-day life is just very different.
Pilates instructor Sabrina Chavez says she sees the impact in the faces of her clients as she tries to project strength herself.
It feels so heavy. I try the best I can, to be strong for them so they can have some escape, and I want to be able to give that to them. It's so heartbreaking.
And Shaquille Brewster joins us tonight in St. Paul.
Shaquille Brewster?
Judge is also putting restrictions on how agents and officers respond to some protesters.
That's right. That federal judge ordering agents like these to stop pepper spraying, detaining, and pulling over peaceful protesters, but DHS tonight saying that they're taking appropriate and constitutional measures to protect their agents. Jose?
Tonight, across
Hoseby? Yeah, so federal officials investigating the apartment of Renee Good to determine whether she may have impeded federal moments before she shot and killed. Federal investigation of the shooting is focusing on Becca Good, including what officials say are possible ties to activist groups. Yeah. Becca Good's lawyer said in a statement that there's been no contact from FBI or federal officials indicating that Becca is the subject of investigation. They're also investigating Tim Walz and Jacob Frey. And since we're talking about Tim Walz, I think it's only fair. That we show his latest ad campaign as. I said, wow. Tim Walz, man. What is wrong with this guy? All these crying people. What is wrong with all these fragile ass people? 69. Wow, this is crazy. I said, wow. Oh, wow. What's he doing with that beer? Oh, my God. It's gross. Oh, it's gross. Oh, it's gross. It's gross. It's gross. Gross. Oh, that's some gross stuff there. What are you trying to do to me? Trying to get me killed? My God, who made that? That's gross. It's a bonus video. Yeah. Oh, my God. It's funny but disgusting. Yes. I think I'm going to lose my lunch. Bud, light me up. Yeah. Gonna have nightmares tonight. Yeah, me too, man. I think it's pretty gross. Somebody deserves a dick punch. Yeah. Disgraced Michael Cohen claims Tish James coerced him to flip against Trump. So yeah, so we're gonna see what happens with that. It could be interesting. Could be quite interesting to see what happens with that. New York Post says Michael Cohen says he was coerced by Tish James and Algum Bragg to turn on Trump. This is crazy. We've got this story. This is a completely different topic, which I wanted to cover. It says Trump administration proposes allowing the use of 401ks for home down payments. Sounds good to me. How that could reap the benefits. How you could reap the benefits. President Trump is set to reveal a plan. Here's another $2 for another $2. So that means now we are $70 away, just $70 away from a second additional hour of the show. Thank you very much, Brian Ogden, for all your help. 14 Freedom TV says, I just found out the Germans that got sent to Greenland couldn't find a German plane, so they had to hire one from Poland. The Luftwaffe ain't what it used to be. Old gray mare, she ain't what she used to be, ain't what she used to be, ain't what she used to be. They should be able to be used for that, yes. Yep. The plan, signaled on Friday by the NEC Council Director Kevin Hassett in an interview with Fox, is the latest attempt by the Trump administration to ease the housing affordability crisis. The easy way to ease it is to get rid of all the illegal aliens who are causing, a problem for supply and demand. Yes, all 37 of the European troops. Yes, Keitel. We're going to allow people to take money from their 401ks and use it for a down payment on Mornings for Maria. Hassett downplayed concerns that allowing savers to tap their 401ks could hurt them later in retirement. How can it hurt them later in retirement? Are you saying houses won't continue to just go up in value? We're still talking about the mechanics of it, but suppose you put 10% down on a home and then you take 10% of the equity of your home and put that in an asset as an asset in your 401k, and then your 401k will grow over time, he continued. Oh. Maybe. I don't know. Americans are currently unable to withdraw funds from the 401k for the first-time home buyers without paying a tax penalty. Those who make withdrawals before the age of 59 and a half must pay an additional 10% tax unless they are eligible for special exception. I mean, I guess you could take a loan out from your 401k and use it. I thought you could do this once already. I don't know. They keep changing the rules for stuff like this. There's already a first-time homebuyer exception that allows penalty-free withdrawals up to $10K from an IRA, SEP, Simple IRA, or SARSA plans, but that does not include 401ks. And it's unclear whether the new exemption that has announced would also cap out at $10K. President Trump pledged to improve housing affordabilities for Americans still reeling from sleepy Joe Biden's horrible economic disaster that he imposed on this country. Trump is going to be announcing more initiatives soon. The White House did not respond to requests for inquiry. Trump has recently launched several other initiatives aimed at making home buying more affordable, though the potential impact has been up for debate. A True Social post, Trump said that he would seek to ban large investors from buying and then renting out single-family homes. It's a good idea as long as there's no way that you can lose your home if the market tanks. I don't think it could. He did not say exactly how the plan would work, promising to say more in Davos, but it represents a major initiative after roughly a decade of large investors and private equity firms buying up hundreds of thousands of single-family homes. Housing advocates have argued that widespread corporate ownership of homes can reduce supply and inflate prices. It can. Yeah. And instead, they have nodded to a lack of housing supply and pushed for local zoning and regulation to help with construction. Firms that own 100 or more single-family homes only control about 2% of the nation's single-family housing stock. Trump also ordered a $200 billion mortgage bond buying spree, arguing it would drive mortgage rates down, monthly payments down, and make the cost of owning a home more affordable. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will do the purchases, according to the FHFA director, Bill Pulte. Rachel says that her hubby was penalized for taking out a loan years ago and was less than $10K. Mortgage rates briefly dipped below 6% for the first time in years, and mortgage refinance demand jumped 40% higher than a week after the announcement. Trump has also ramped up pressure on the Federal Reserve to slash interest rates. Powell on Sunday shared he is under criminal investigation over his congressional testimony last summer concerning the Fed's $2.5 billion headquarters renovation. A stunning escalation after months of Trump bashing Powell for not cutting rates fast enough. Yes, he lied to Congress. Powell lied to Congress numerous times in his testimony. Okay, so that's that story. This story, DOJ seeks life sentence for Trump's would-be assassin. So Ryan Ruth, the guy who attempted to kill Trump at the Mar-a-Lago golf course shortly after the election, but before he was sworn in, they want life, which, Justice Department is requesting a life sentence for a man found guilty of attempting to kill President Trump. Jury found Ruth, who hid in a tree line with a semi-automatic rifle at Trump's golf club in West Palm Beach, Florida, guilty on all 5 charges after about 2 hours of deliberations. DOJ said in its latest filing that the man's crimes undeniably warrant a life sentence. A guy I knew never completed building the outside of his house to avoid taxes. Well, you can do that. After hearing his guilty verdict in the Florida courtroom, Ruth attempted to stab himself with a pen. Officers restrained him, and his daughter, Sarah Ruth, yelled out in the courtroom, "This is all rigged. I'll get you out, Dad, I promise." Well, unless they're going to testify against Joe Biden and Demon Rats and say that they were behind it and orchestrated it and paid him and did all this other stuff, like, where'd he get the money? There's a lot of questions about where he got the money to do all these things he did, where it came from. He was filmed with a lot of weird people. He was on the 6-hole with an SKS rifle, 2 bags of bulletproof plates attached to a fence and a flashlight. He fled when Secret Service agents fired at him after spotting him, and the rifle barrels in the bush. Ruth was captured heading down Interstate 95. Are we going to ignore that this guy was probably an Ukrainian agent? I'm not ignoring it. I mean, he was definitely tied to Ukraine. He's tied to other stuff, too. He was really connected to that chef guy. He's a sovereign citizen. Yeah. The man was charged with attempted assassination of a major presidential candidate, possessing a firearm and furthers a crime of violence, assaulting federal officer, being a felon in possession of a firearm, possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. During a lengthy pre-trial period, Ruth filed a request suggesting a golf match with Trump that would end with either Ruth dying or becoming president himself. Once the trial began, Ruth represented himself, arguing for the jurors to see his gentleness and nonviolence. If the intent was there, it would have happened. Justice Department prosecutors presented contrasting evidence showing the would-be assassin's movements and whereabouts leading up to the day to prove he was planning to kill the president for months. The latest DOJ filings Friday reaffirmed these arguments. He took steps over the course of months to assassinate a major presidential candidate, demonstrating the will to kill anybody in the way. He has since expressed regret. He has since expressed neither regret nor remorse to his victims. No remorse, no regrets. We don't care what it takes. His argument for downward variance from life imprisonment are wholly meritless. Trump, who was the GOP's presidential nominee at the time of the attempt on his life, I thought he was already won. I thought this was in November. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was October. He's an evil man with an evil intention. It says, Trump said in a September 2025 post on Truth, the trial was meticulously handled, and I would like to thank the judge and jury for their time. Interesting. Very interesting, my friends. It's a local news story here. DOJ seeks life sentence for Ryan Ruth in attempted assassination. No.
Today, tomorrow, and forever.
What?
Watch Mosaic Sundays on WPBF 25.
Into the newsroom now, the Department of Justice is asking a judge to sentence Ryan Ruth to life in prison. You may remember Ruth was convicted of an attempted assassination of President Donald Trump on his golf course here in Florida. The trial took place last September rather. His sentencing is scheduled for February 4th.
It was September 15th, I guess, so I was wrong. It was 2 months before the election. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Crap. That was bad. Share screen. AP obtains documents showing the Venezuelan leader, Delcy Rodriguez, has been on the DEA's radar for years. So the new president of Venezuela is also involved in drug smuggling. When President Trump announced the audacious capture of terrorist Nicolas Maduro to face drug trafficking charges, he portrayed the strongman's vice president as a longtime aide as America's preferred partner. Left unspoken was a cloud of suspicion that's long surrounded Delcy Rodriguez before she became acting president of the beleaguered nation earlier this year. In fact, Rodriguez has been on the radar of the DEA for years, and in 2022 was even labeled a priority target. She believes to have a significant impact on the drug trade. So maybe she is the new La Madre, the new queen. DEA has amassed detailed intelligence to file on Rodriguez dating back to 2018, the records show. Her association with drug trafficking and gold smuggling. Rodriguez was using hotels in the Caribbean resort of Isla Margarita as a front to launder money. Maybe. Recent as last year, she was linked to Maduro's bagman, Alex Saab, whom U.S. authorities arrested in 2020 on money laundering charges. The U.S. government has never publicly accused Rodriguez of any criminal wrongdoing. Notably, for Maduro's inner circle, she's among more than a dozen officials. She's not one of the dozen officials charged with federal drug trafficking. Her name has been surfaced in nearly 2 dozen DEA investigations, several of which remain ongoing, involving cases from field offices in Paraguay, Ecuador, Phoenix, New York. The AP cannot determine the specific focus of each investigation. Oh. So they couldn't say the focus. The focus. Wouldn't the focus be to go after drug smugglers, traffickers, traficantes, droga traficantes? They were not authorized to discuss DEA investigations and spoke on a condition of anonymity. They should have gotten her also. Take them all in one fell swoop. She was on the rise, so it's not surprised she might have became a high priority target with her role. A prosecutor in Miami said, who worked on multiple cases related to Venezuela. The issue is when people talk about you and you become a high priority target, there's a difference between that and evidence supporting an indictment. The DEA and Justice Department also did not respond to requests for comments and referred to the AP to Trump's earlier remarks that they had a very good talk. The current Venezuelan government is a criminal hybrid regime. The only way you reach a position of power in the regime is at the very least abetting criminal activities, said Dudley Do Right, who investigated Venezuela for years. Ralph had a boob job? Okay. Rodriguez, 56, worked her way to the apex of power. Wait, she's 56? Look at her. Does this lady look 56 or does this lady look like 66, 76? That's a hard 56 right there. That is a hard 56. Look at that face. The American justice system has sufficient information about her, said Machado, referring to Rodriguez. Her profile is quite clear. The charm offensive flopped when Trump urged on by Rubio pressure Maduro to hold free and fair elections in September 2018, and the White House sanctioned Rodriguez, describing her as a key Maduro's grip of power. Be nice, Jim. I am trying to be nice. I'm just saying she ain't no gnome 56. Old pineapple. Yeah. Those allegations focus on her threat to Venezuelan democracy, not alleged involvement in corruption. The DEA records seen by the AP provide an unprecedented glimpse into the agency's interest in Rodriguez. Much of it is driven by the agency's elite Special Operations Division, the same Virginia-based unit that worked with prosecutors in Manhattan to indict Maduro. Holy cow, that's a quick trial and sentencing. Yeah, it is. I'm 4 years younger. The records also indicate the feds were looking at Rodriguez's involvement in government contracts awarded to Maduro's ally Saab. The Colombian business rose to become one of Venezuela's top fixers at U.S. sanctions, cut off his access to hard currency. Noam is 56, I think so. No, she's older now. Okay. Noam is hot. As a man who pretends to be a dermatologist. Yes. He has the utmost respect and confidence in the acting president of Venezuela. Jihadi M. Somali said in a statement. Wait a minute. So they have a guy named Jihadi M. Somali? What? In an unrelated matter, DA records indicate agents' interest in Rodriguez's possible involvement in alleged corrupt deals between the government and Omar Nassif Sharouji, a relative of a longtime romantic partner of Rodriguez's, Youssef Nassifi. So not only is she a communist and a drug smuggler, she's also Islamist, communist, Islaminist. Taken together, DEA investigators underscore how power has been exercised in Venezuela. So there's that. AP obtains documents showing Venezuelan leader has been on the DEA's radar for years. YouTube relaxes monetization policy on videos with controversial content. What do you know? YouTube relaxes monetization policy on videos with controversial content. I think they're talking to me. YouTube is updating its guidelines for videos containing content that advertisers define as controversial, allowing more creators to earn full ad revenue while they tackle sensitive issues in a non-graphic way. With the update that went into effect Tuesday, YouTube videos that dramatize or cover issues including domestic abuse, self-harm, suicide, adult sexual abuse, abortion, sexual harassment without graphic descriptions or imagery are now eligible for full monetization. Ads will remain restricted on videos that include content on child abuse, child sex trafficking, and eating disorders. It's a trap. It's a trap. That's my best Admiral Akbar. It's a trap. The changes were outlined in a video posted to the Creator Insider YouTube channel on Tuesday, and advertiser-friendly content guidelines were updated on specific definitions and examples. We want to ensure creators who are telling sensitive stories or producing dramatized content have the opportunity to earn ad revenue while respecting advertiser choice and industry sentiment. We took a closer look and found our guidelines in this area had become too restrictive and ended up demonetizing uploads like dramatized content. I dramatize all my content for that reason. Make it very dramatic. Mr. Spock! The update will also make personal accounts of these sensitive issues as well as preventative content and journalistic coverage on subjects eligible for full monetization. Couldn't they have done that all along? Yes, they should have been. And the beat goes on. And the beat goes on. Choosy says, I don't recall having to make a short complaining about being hidden from all the chats simultaneously for a couple of weeks solid. Huh. Could be. Could be. Google, The Google-owned company said the degree of graphic or descriptive detail in videos wasn't previously considered when determining advertiser friendliness. And friendliness is next to godliness. Or wait, cleanliness is next to godliness. Some creators would attempt to bypass these policies on YouTube and other platforms by using workaround language or substituting symbols or numbers with letters written in the text. So like grape soda, cheese pizza, things like that. Yeah. YouTube was like, this is stupid. We have to stop people from doing this. They were losing too many creators and probably advertisers too, would be my guess. Well, you guessed right. You guessed it right. We hear you, Brian Ogden. I'm giving it all she's got, Captain. YouTube has been updated on its policies in response to creators' feedback. In July, the company eased its monetization policy regarding profanity, making videos that use strong profanity in the first 7 seconds eligible for full ad revenue. What do you know? Swearing is no longer verboten. So they're going to stop changing our language suddenly? I don't know. They will still run ads in your videos. They just won't give you the money. That's right. They just won't give you the money. The money. Use pronouns. I like to use the pronouns were, was. From Caitlin Humani Nani. Huamani. Who among you? Who among you? New York City faces a $12 billion deficit, drawing comparison to the 2008 financial crisis, as Zoran the Kami Mandami uses dire forecast to push taxing the rich. Yes, where is the money, Lebowski? Where is the money, Lebowski? It's almost 1 a.m. Saturday night. Time for laundry. Yes. Yes. I was just delaying the show's start to try and wait for a certain person that we all know who's supposed to be starting minutes ago to start the show. That's what I'm trying to do now. Who could it be now? Who could it be now? Oh, oh. Who could it be now? Oh, 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 oh. Another $2 from Brian Ogden. The Joe is going to test YouTube's new policy tonight. Raid. Yeah, we're gonna raid Joe tonight. Another $2. I'll join Joe after Jim. Yes. Nothing from a good lawyer yet. Thanks, Jim, for all your hard work. No problem. I'm trying to get it all set up right now. Good logic. Yeah, I'm trying to get it all set up now for Joe. But Joe is always late. 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 I would like to report a crime of Jim singing to Pam and Cash, but we all know they won't do anything. Well, you could try. This is what you call trying to stretch the show. But comparisons of the financial crisis. So, new comptroller warns New York City is facing a $12 billion budget deficit.
We want to call your attention today to a looming budget gap. That's
a pretty big gap.
We believe has big implications for our budget.
Okay, see you guys there. Thank you, Jim.
How we got into this mess. So we're going to start out with the top line numbers, which are pretty striking. We are facing, according to my office's projections, a mid-year budget gap in New York City of $2.2 billion. And that is for the year that we're in the middle of. That ends in June. We're going to talk about why that's pretty unusual. And we're facing an even bigger gap
Baby
for
shark
that begins in July of $10.4 billion.
Wow. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So the Big Apple was in the red even before the socialist takeover. New York is facing a mammoth $12 billion budget deficit. Zohar Madami quickly used the dire forecast to push tax the rich. The 2077 fiscal year faces even worse $10.4 billion shortfall to comptroller even before the socialist unveils his first spending plan. Wow, House Feds probe the unraveled mystery of Squad Omar's skyrocketing wealth. This is far beyond what we saw last year, and I believe that any year since the 28 financial crisis. Something we haven't seen. Tax city revenues increased 7% during the fiscal year. This wasn't caused by bad economies, but also budgeting decisions. Yes. The New York City's budget is $115 billion. It's nearly equal to the $117 billion budget for the entire state of Florida. Yeah, and Florida has more people. Florida has more people than New York. Wow. New York State. Florida has more people than New York State, but yet New York City's budget is bigger than Florida's entire budget. That's weird. Mandami, a foreigner who's trying to infiltrate the city and take over, do a Muslim commie takeover. There he is. Kami Mandami. Yes, it's massive results. Massive results of massive results of stuff is going on over here. Oh, here's another video that I didn't see before. Hold on. Share this tab instead.
This guy needs medical help. He needs mental help. Mental help. The bleeding is natural from Nazis' ears.
Oh, the bleeding is natural for Nazis.
Where you going? You won't fly. They're to hold the limbs, right? Come hold the limbs. gotta put their head right. Shit. Stop recording. Don't record no more. Stop. I'm gonna do a vlog. Don't worry. Get off loud. Get off loud.
This is Daddy right here.
Where are you going?
Hey, look.
You don't come to Minneapolis anymore.
Yeah, not the
Take that shit off. Look at that. Take that shit off.
Wow. That's some crazy stuff, man. Where's the cops? Where are the cops? Cavalry is coming, hopefully. Yeah, we will see if Allah provides. Well, everybody, I want to thank you all for being here. Please remember to hit the like button if you haven't already hit the like. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'm going to send you all over to see Joe. Joe just started. Let's have a good time. Come on back tomorrow for Jim to tell you the news.